Alrighty, what's up, everyone? So, we were meant to have Gangstar coming on to chat about the black pill. I don't know if he's got issues with time zones or what the story is, but I haven't been able to get in contact with him today. So, I don't know. Gangstar, if you're in the chat, I've popped the StreamYard link up there. Otherwise, if anyone else, while we're waiting, wanted to come on and have a discussion about Black Pill, if you guys want to ask any questions in the chat, we'll go for 20, 30 minutes and see if he comes on. Mark's with a good experience. All right, happy day. So I put the StreamYard link into the chat. So if anyone wanted to come on and discuss, jump on. Otherwise, okay, DK, I'm a Black Pill. All right, here we go. Jump on that link and come in. The only requirement is if anyone wants to come on and discuss the black pill, you got to tell me how good looking I am. Okay, that's the precedent that's been set for these discussions. Oh, here we go. Gangstar's on. Hey, brother.
Yo, can you hear it? Yeah.
How are you, man?
All right.
Your mic sounds a little fuzzy. Speak again.
Is any better?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, it normally takes a bit of time to materialize, but it's all good.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds like you're in like the bathroom or something, bro. You're showering during the stream.
I just have very cheap equipment. So.
Okay. All good, man. All good. Thanks for joining, man. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah. Preparations, of course, because we were supposed to do it like last week, right?
Yeah. It's all G. It's all G. We've got you here, so this is great. Let me just post this link up in my Facebook group so everyone can join. But while I'm doing that, what do you want to chat over, man? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I just feel like things will just come out as we speak. Like, no, I don't have anything like planned or anything. I expect you to kind of take the ropes, like.
Yeah.
But I do want the rest of your crew to come in. Are they coming later or not?
Alex is currently not gaming.
So he won't be able to. Okay,
yeah. You might be able to watch him game. For those that are listening to the discussion, you might be able to watch Alex game in between. But yeah, I've got some things I want to go through. Got some topics in mind. I'm just retardedly trying to share this. Here we go. Share. All right. I'll just post it up to our Facebook group. Alex, man, how are you? I don't know if we can hear you or not, probably. But where are you? Fucking Cubano or some shit? Okay, you probably can't hear me either. Alrighty, so let's get started. So essentially, I'm relatively new to the black pill ideology. So I guess I was mainly introduced to it through playing with fire and a lot of the speed dates. And essentially, I've done a little bit of reading on the black pill, but it seems like everyone has a very different ideology around it, right? There's almost like the black pill incel style community. Then there's like the black pill look maxing community. And then there's like the black pill give up, nothing fucking matters community. And they seem to have like, okay, good chat. He's probably got some issues with his bathroom. All right, wait for him to come back in. All right, let's read through this chat. That's Black Pill is where they thought of Alex's video where he asked out 10 girls who had higher SME than him and got at least one day without even trying, without being a Chad. Fake, not okay, whoa. All right, Man Denton, and I think someone else claiming that the Infield looks staged. Alex the fraud. That's a huge fucking claim to be claiming someone's infield is fake. And especially Alex, who look, I could bet my left testicle that infield is not faked. So I haven't seen it, to be honest. But just knowing Alex, he wouldn't do that. So I can have a look at the infield maybe later on the stream and give you my thoughts on it. So if someone wants to link it to me, but I would highly, highly doubt that he would even think about faking infield. All right, Gangstar, man, your internet's a bit
sorry,
dodgy.
my audio cut out and I couldn't hear you, so I just disconnected. I was listening to you though. I heard what you were saying. You're saying that they all have like different interpretations of the black pill. So.
Exactly. And DK, I'll get you on later, bro. I'll just have a chat to Gantstar first. But yeah, so essentially, let me know what your ideology is. Like, what are your thoughts around dating the black pill? What are your beliefs around it?
Well, it's just that looks are, the most important factor when it comes to attracting women.
That's it?
Well, yeah, it's pretty simple, but...
Okay. Do you think game exists? Do you think game can help?
Are
you cutting out right now, I think? Okay. DK.
Yo, what's up? Obviously,
hey,
there
man,
was a technical difficulty.
yeah, hard. I think, yeah, there must be not that much reception in the bathroom, is what's happening right now. All right, man, nice to meet you. Where are you from, man?
Yeah, you too, bro. I'm from New Zealand, but yeah, I know you already, but you would have forgotten me by now. But yeah, I met you. Oh. Actually, there was this chick. The first time I think we crossed paths was when you were debating this guy called Coach Josh, who's now known as Coach Whitepill. I don't know if you remember that debate. But yeah, you guys were going at it in the comment section on Facebook. And and man, he was freaking out over UA. He was like saying you're the most manipulative PUA, even though he himself is a PUA. But yeah, that's the first time I came across paths.
Oh damn.
But,
okay.
But then
I don't even remember
that,
this.
Yeah, after that, you randomly saw me, bro. When I was, because there's this chick, I don't know if she's a dating guru chick, but her name was Sophie, if you remember that interview. It's somewhere in your archives anyway.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that was like maybe 2-3 years ago or something. But yeah, she's like a sexuality coach or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that.
So you hit me up in the DMs and you're like, bro, I was reading your responses to Sophie, and it's like, man, that reminds me of the old days of when I was like a newbie and going through it all and shit like that. And so yeah, you let me know about that interview. And yeah, I saw the interview, and then randomly, like 1 year after that, maybe 2 years after that, I actually met you in Sydney, bro, on just outside Westfield. And here's how that went down. So my friend, he's a tall Indian guy, and he was like, we were just leaving the mall area, outside the mall area. He said something like DHV, and you're...
Oh, this is breaking up.
Oops, sorry about that. I think something happened with the technicals.
Yeah, so I heard up to your tall mates at DHV.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so he said something. He said the term DHV, and I saw in real time. I saw you go like a fucking Terminator. You recognized the terminology instantly, and I was like, he kind of looks like Marcus Wolf, but is that actually Marcus Wolf? And as soon as you looked over, I was like, yeah, that's Marcus Wolf. And I went up to you and I said, yo, are you Marcus Wolf? And you smiled immediately. And yeah, we had like a 45-minute chat. But honestly, at the time I told you, is like, you were filming the student. And I swear to God, bro, I couldn't tell you were filming because I just thought you were some random tourist. I wasn't even completely sure if you're a Marcus Wolf. So it was so well camouflaged. It was like brilliant. I don't know. Like that is the best way I've ever seen any infield film. But yeah, those are the manipulative and sneaky.
Oh shit, man, that's awesome, man. All right, let's we'll get Gangstar back in a second, but you're black pilled as well. Is that right? If I
Yeah, I'm not
identified
as
you
black pilled
correctly.
as Gangstar. It's kind of like what you said before. Like there are different variants of black pill. So I would consider myself black pill slash PUA pill. Those are
Okay,
the two main ones that I will subscribe to. Yeah. Um.
cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Whereas
let's
yeah, I know Goat's a little bit. He's probably definitely higher up on the black pill hierarchy than me.
all right, easy. Let's get Gangstar. Can you hear us? What's happening with your internet, man?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening now. Sometimes I do have issues, but they normally fix gradually. So I'd say that's why I'm saying you could probably have your conversation first and just see how my mic settles in.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. If you drop out, we'll give you internet one more chance. DK, if you want to wait for us, I'll pop you back in there.
No worries, bro.
Into
Well,
the back.
actually,
Yeah, and then
just before he goes, I did want to bring
yeah.
up just one thing about the two of you. Since he said he met you in person, he said that you're like 6'3", but you said you're like 6.5 feet, right? So,
Bro, I wish I was 6'3". It's interesting actually. I'll just remove you for a sec. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I have some women that if you ask them, will probably tell you I'm 6'3", and even some students that might say that when they meet me. But I think it's the halo effect that you guys talk about a lot. When I'm very like when I come up and I'm like, hey, what's up? Da, 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 and I'm all like this. A lot of people find me very, I don't know, intimidating or big is how a lot of girls would describe it. So yeah, some people might think I'm taller than I am, but yeah, I'm about 6'1.5" or 184 centimeters. But yeah, I
yeah.
wish I was 6'3",
I
bro.
wanted to ask your elevation though, because he was there, but he's gone out. But yeah, he was claiming because he's meant to be quite tall himself. I think he says he's 6'4". So he said that you're like because about looks for L about taking you on, and he was saying, "Oh, you're actually like Marcus Wolf is also very tall." So we were all confused.
No, I'm only 184 centimeters. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know why you guys wouldn't take my word on it. There's no reason for me to lie about it. I wish I was 6'3". I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, okay.
But I'm not.
All good, all good.
All right. So
So what did you
essentially,
hear last before I cut out? What was the last thing you heard?
yeah, not much. So essentially, you think looks are the most important factor. My question was, how much do you think game is involved in that? Do you think game exists? If you could give a ratio of looks versus every other attribute, how much do you think looks matter compared to everything else?
Yeah. So I was saying, so I must have cut out during that. So I was saying that
Yeah.
I think like this social skills would matter if like the people were at a similar looks level, then the guy who has better social skills would obviously get the advantage in that case. But if we're talking like, an average guy compared to a good looking guy and one guy having average social skills and one guy having excellent social skills, I don't think it would make a dramatic difference based on the guys looking more attractive. I think he'll have the advantage by far.
Okay. So let's take an average looking guy, right?
Jake.
Let's say we take 100 average looking guys. How much do you think game versus looks would make the difference? So let's say I don't know what you call average. Like usually when a lot of girls rate, like 7's an average. I know some of you guys like for 3's an average or whatever, but whatever arbitrary number you want to give, like an average plus 1 or 2, right? Like, so, the medium distribution of men in a society go out to meet women. Do you think that they are going to get women based off their looks? So literally, if you're going to rank them 1 to 100, they would get women based from 1 to 100? Or are you thinking that game is like 5% difference? Or do you think it's like 50-50? If you were to give like a split here, how much of a difference do you think it would make?
Well, I was saying for average, we can just say Jake, right? Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I think, like in that case, it's going to come down to like his career, things like that, his money, his status, all that.
Mm-hmm. Your mic's cut out for a second. Yeah, I can't hear you, bro. Awesome. Bruh. All right. Looks like it's going to be Elevation. Here we go. DK.
Brutal,
do you prefer Elevation or
brutal
DK?
tick pill, bro.
Tech build, yeah. Fucking getting dick.
I mean, on Facebook, I have the same name as you, bro. So I think I'll DM you. I'll DM you on Facebook later. I actually have 2 accounts that we DM'd each other on randomly. But yeah, DK Elevation is cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's ask the same question to you, I guess. So, how much do you think game matters compared to looks?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so my perspective on this is, it kind of depends what you define as game. Obviously, that's a huge part of the equation. But my view is that basically, I think the most potent form of game would be what is used to be called. I don't know if it's still called this, but it would be called invisible game. And so, I think invisible game would constitute factors that often technical game doesn't think about, and I think that sort of game is stuff like vibe, presence, Riz, how relaxed you are, and you can kind of like I don't know if you have been on one of Alex's speed date panels, right?
Mm-hmm. What about Alex's speed date panels? Jesus, is like Black Pill and technology. Like, do they? I can't hear anything.
Only the Kiwis have the best mics, bro.
All right, there we go. I got you back.
Marcus, you got cut off, bro. Yeah, you got cut off, bro. What happened?
All right, can you? All right, you can. Okay,
Yeah,
I got up to panel. Black Pill, the playing with fire panel.
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, just W Kiwi mics over Aussie mics, or connections. But,
No, I'm
okay,
blaming
yeah,
your connection here, bro. All right, go for it.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, okay. So with yeah, you've been on a couple of Alex's speed date panels. Is that correct from memory?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how much of the people that you remember. But there's I'll give you an example of like what I consider invisible game, or almost like non-game game would be like Johnny. Johnny doesn't have game per se, but he has 2 factors other than his looks that I think make him extremely potent. And one is how relaxed he is in his vibe, and the second one is how smooth he is. That's sort of a little bit more correlated to game, this aspect of it. But yeah, I think if you go uh, through each of these individuals, you'll find that they have something other than game, that even if they have game, that makes their game potent. Whereas most guys, if you just train them up on game, it's not genuine, and it's not in every case. You can't really teach game. There's a lot of game that is not inheritable. So that's my position.
Okay, so it sounds like yeah. Okay, so to me, what you're saying is it sounds like, all right, there's a component of looks that matter, and then game needs to be split into 2 aspects, which is what it's sounding like is one is biological, which is you're born with either the ability to be super calm and relaxed with a girl, with the ability to vibe with a girl, with the ability to be like super smooth with a girl, which are just things that you can't technically teach someone. You can't take someone and say, okay, this week we're going to learn how to be smooth. Because in your mind, technical game is, okay, this is what you can say, which is, all right, you can go up and say, okay, you look very pretty. And 2 different students, one's going to be like, you are pretty. And the other one's going to be like, hey, I just had to come over here. Look, you look fucking amazing. Okay, look at you. Can't help myself. And so one is going to be smooth and charismatic and one's not. Is that like my interpretation? Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's fairly accurate. I think that's an accurate assessment. So yeah, I mean, I love that example of like basically bringing up like 2 guys. We could give examples of like the disparity between their looks. But let's say that they're, I don't know, let's say they're both high tier normies, so that's a 6 out of 10. I think that's like Black Pill language for usually 6 out of 10 around that marker. So they're both high tier normies. They're 6 out of 10, and one of them, actually both of them, saying the exact same line, saying the exact same expression, and then the other one saying the exact same line, the exact same expression, and then you have completely different reaction from a girl because of the factors that are outside of technical game. I think so. Outside of those factors, that will make all the difference in the world on multiple occasions. Yeah.
Okay, so my question then to you, because I actually disagree here. I think you can teach. Let me just Gangstar. You gonna speak or not? You got a lot of background noise.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll mute.
Okay. Yeah, I actually disagree here. I think there is a lot that can be taught in your behaviors that aren't unchangeable, that aren't just biological. I agree, personality, if you look at a lot of the data on this, it can be difficult to completely revolutionize and completely change a lot of personality traits by a huge effect. But you can change to a small effect, and ultimately you can change a lot of behaviors, right? That it's actually a really easy thing to do. So in terms of taking a student and making them, I mean, we mentioned a few invisible game ideas, which is like vibe, being relaxed and being smooth. Even if we take these three, I think this is actually something that is teachable or is learnable over time. Because if I look at all my students that have been gaming for an extended period of time, they are always all going to have a lot less anxiety, a lot less AA, and be more smooth. Now, yes, there are going to be some students who I would argue are usually like more socially inept that have less anxiety, right? So there's some students that, no, it's true though, right? Like a lot of my students that come into game with zero AA, with zero experience, usually when I see that, I'm like, okay, there's probably some miscalibration happening here. Like you almost should be a little bit nervous to approach. And so my students that come to me that can just mass approach out of nowhere, usually they're super uncalibrated, because if they had calibration, they'd realize that, okay, there is some social risk on the line here from opening, right? It's the truth of the matter. And now, when I have experienced students with zero A, usually that comes from a learned experience. Usually it comes from developing these mindsets. Usually it comes from having a level of confidence because they've got the feedback and experience of like positive interactions. So I definitely, like, from my own experience of coaching and like even just personally, right? Like I used to be super fucking nervous going up and approaching someone. So I think there is a level of smoothness, right, that can be achieved. And we've seen this even in Infields before and after. Even if you look at Alex's speed dating, for example, where guys come on and their first speed date, what do they all say? They're like, this is more nerve-wracking than I thought. They're always more nervous than they think they'd be. And then by the fourth or fifth speed date, they're a lot more relaxed in that environment. So I think actually slowing down, being more smooth, and developing, like, you know, these hard words to actually put behaviors on, but things like charisma, I think can be learned over time, and especially can be taught. I think you can actually give people behaviors that match up with charisma, and they feel, obviously, that's a little bit robotic at first, but over time that becomes a natural skill that they get unconscious competence around. So I would argue that yes, there is like a technical side of game that people just blindly teach and have no idea like what it actually means. But then there's a side to game that I think can be taught when you're incorporating both these invisible game and game.
Okay, yeah, we did. I think we definitely disagree, but then maybe we do agree somewhat more than I thought we would. Yeah. So okay, so it's really, for me personally, it's really hard to talk about these matters outside of concrete examples in my mind. But yeah, so I'm thinking of like I'm thinking of like someone like Johnny on the speed date panel. I'm not sure if he came on when you were on. So I mentioned some of the qualities he had earlier, and you mentioned them too. I think it was like, yeah, other than his looks, so obviously he does pass the looks threshold, and it's probably even higher. He has relaxation, and he has smoothness, and my argument is, um, say I was to get like, okay, let me ask you a question before I get into this. But like, what would you say, like, in terms of like newbie students? What would you say out of your newbie students? Like, how many boot camps might they take in, say, like 1 year? If you're comfortable with answering that.
Yeah, it comes with answering anything. How many do my average students take of boot camps? Is that the question?
Sorry. So I mean specifically like new students who are getting into PUA or game, like in a year, how many boot camps? Like, would the ones that take the most amount of boot camps, how many would they go with you per year? If like this, like let's say this is like a hard case student, like a student that wants to get this down really fast. Like on average, how much boot camps would that student take per year?
Okay, so I don't have my hard numbers, but I'll give you like just what I know from memory. 95% of our students will only typically take one boot camp. The amount of
Okay.
students that have taken 2 boot camps in a year, um, dude, I can't even give you like one. I don't even remember one that's taken 2 in a year, just because our boot camps aren't like a 1 day. I don't know what other companies are doing, right? It's not like a 1 day like boot camp and then they do multiple of them. Like our top tier boot camp is 2 weeks where they live with us. So it's an expensive boot camp. It's time
Oh, right,
consuming.
right.
And then our other boot camp is like a 4 day one. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't think there's anyone that's taken like 2 in a year. I'm sure there might have been, or probably was in the past, but it's just
Oh,
not a common
right.
thing, and I can't think of anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you made me completely forget. I don't know if you're still good with him, but yeah, one of your students, his name was Stefan back in the day. But yeah, he was a friend of mine. But I think you guys might have fell out after. I can't remember. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's another.
he did a 2 week workshop with us. We fell out after that, and then this year he's hit me back up, and
Oh,
um, he might even be in our mastermind again now, actually. But yeah, I think he went through some personal stuff, and
yeah,
anyway, I don't want to talk about it on stream.
yeah.
But
All good,
anyway,
all good.
no, I'm
Um,
cool with him. He's a nice dude.
yeah, yeah. So anyway,
We
okay.
just have a
So
falling out.
as you said, let's get back to business. So 95% of your students take one boot camp a year, which you said is reasonably expensive and
Yeah,
2 weeks long. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Um, so okay, so let's take examples then, because this isn't exactly the demographic I'm looking for. Like this could be part of it, but okay. So then let's say they come back like the next year or the year after that. So second or third year, and they take another boot camp.
Hmm.
Out of all the ones that take a second boot camp or even a third boot camp, how would you rank their progress in terms of the invisible aspects of game that we just mentioned, rather than the technical or the verbal aspects? Would you say that it's exactly what you just described to me earlier, where they have the times that they have come back for a second or third boot camp, they now have this level of smoothness, of relaxation, and by that, by smoothness and relaxation, by the way, I don't just mean like a reduced amount of anxiety. I mean that women are experiencing a palpable effect when within like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it depends on the student. So if I look at our students that have taken like multiple boot camps or been with us, let's even expand that a little bit. Let's say they've been students of us for a few years, because I mean, not everyone's going to be taking multiple boot camps. Maybe they take a boot camp and then they stay in the mastermind and then maybe get some like coaching calls or something like that. So let's just
Mhm.
expand this to like students of ours that have been like taking coaching for the last couple of years. It's going to depend on the student, but there is a noticeable difference not only in their demeanor and like their smoothness, these invisible games, but also in their results. So all of these students are staying around for like 3, sometimes 4, 5 years, because they're continuing to get results and they're seeing an effect of this. So it's not, I'm sure after 4 years, if you're paying for boot camps and coaching and you weren't seeing a fucking difference, I don't think you'd be paying anything more to that service, right? So uh it's going to depend, but
I
I
don't
can
know,
give you some
man. I don't know.
examples of
I kind of know. I know some people. So yeah, I do think that does exist, because like there is like a form of like, I don't know. I mean, for example, you would probably make the same criticism of RSD and a whole bunch of RSD students. I'm sure of it, where it's like basically it's like they get the incentive, they get the motivation, and they get inspired to perform with momentum and go out and go out and go out. But in terms of the result sides of things, even after years and years and years, it's just not that great. I don't know if you agree with it or disagree.
Yeah, I will concede on that point. It's true. I think people get different things out of the gaming community. You're actually right. So, uh, yeah, you look at something like RSD. I think what a lot of guys got there is you need to look at the archetype of the guys getting into RSD a lot of the time. So a lot of these guys aren't really getting laid that much. They don't really have many friends. They are searching for something, and this I think is how a lot of people get into the black pill community. Actually, is it's a community, right? It's people that like understand where you're coming from, and I think what RSD gave a lot of people
Right.
was an affirmation of, okay, going out and hitting on girls isn't shameful. You can do it. They really push a message like it doesn't matter what it looks like. It does, like, nothing matters. You're fine. Go out, which I disagree with as well. But I think, yeah, they got a community from that. Is a lot of time why people were sticking around. So yeah, I will concede the point that there's definitely examples of people sticking around and paying for a service where they're not getting results from. That's fair. But
Okay.
I think what we really promote within our coaching is if you're not going out and if you're using excuses, like, we don't put up with that shit. Like, we kick people out of our mastermind or give them a lot of shit for not being committed or not actually going in and doing the behaviors that will get you results. So, for example, we've recently created like a Look Maxine group within our mastermind. So it's being run by David Swift, and he literally will, like, I think he roasted someone last live stream we had, and it's, if you're in that group and not actually posting that you're going to the gym or posting your goals, essentially, you just get kicked from the group, and that's really what we push. So to answer your question, going back to the point of like how much improvement I see in a lot of these guys, yeah, a lot, but it's not just me. A lot of feedback we get from guys after boot camp or after like an extended period of time is they will say, like, my friends see me differently. Like, my friends will ask what the change is or what's happened, and they'll describe this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is every student, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend you take a boot camp with us and every single student is going to come back and they're going to be better in what we spoke about, which is being more smooth, being more relaxed, having a vibe. Like, there's going to be an element with anything that you learn where some students won't put in the effort. They will have 2 weeks where they actually improve a great deal. Like, we have a lot of students that get, laid a fuck ton. They have great mindsets in their 2 weeks, and then they go back and revert, right? There's every chance of that happening. But for the most part, for the average guy that's taking a program with this, yes, I see a change in this. For the guys that are coming back, I do see an increase in the amount of, let's call it invisible game. I think that's the word you use for it. I do see an increase in invisible game, 100%. And I could give you examples. I could hit you up with some guys. I don't know if they want me to like mention them on stream, but I can send you messages of guys that have taken a bunch of boot camps with this over the last few years, and you can ask for their opinion if you want.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Oh, by the way, just before I do that, I'll just preface this. Yo, Gantstar, anytime you want to come back, jump in, because I don't want to monopolize. Just jump in, and I'll
well, I think it's going to be fine now because it's been on for a long time, so it probably won't disconnect anymore. So once you finish, I'll carry on. So it's all good.
Yeah, all right, perfect. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, let's finish up on this point then, and then we can jump.
Yeah, I'll just finish.
So what were you saying, bro? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you mentioned like at least 2 or 3 categories of students. So you did say. I mean, you did. Obviously, we're using like the RSD hard case as like one category. Another category might be, okay, there's some students they come back, they haven't made that much results, but they do come back and they take a boot camp and try to prove themselves anyway. So they're like neither here nor there kind of category. And you also mentioned the mastermind, you might give them shit or kick them out as well, some of those types. And then the category of like, oh, this student has really fucking come back and they've kicked us and they've got some results and their invisible game is better, etc. Right? Okay, so my question is this. If you were to give an estimate, because I don't know if you've really calculated these sorts of details, but if you were to give an estimation in terms of percentage, what percent of your students are they came back and they have definitively proved on their invisible game in terms of their relaxation, their smoothness, their charisma, like substantially to the effect that they are really, I don't know about maybe if the word is attraction, but certainly generating a very blatant type of interest from women very quickly and very fast. So yeah, if you had to make like a percentage estimation, and by the way, my estimation, because let's just I'll put it out there even before you answer the question. My estimation is that this is an extremely small category. RSD used to say? They used to say, I think it was only 20% of their students would be successful. But if I had to estimate it, I would say probably lower than 10, probably lower than 5. But I'll let you answer the question anyway. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what you categorize in this, right? Like, if I look at students that have come to us after RSD boot camps, so especially in the beginning when we started out, we had a lot of students coming to us being like, look, I took an RSD boot camp. And their biggest complaint was, yeah, they learned nothing on it. They just like were motivated to go out and game. But almost all those students will actually say, okay, but I did learn to become a little bit more confident. And they did get that like social approval of like going out a game was okay. So if you're looking at like very newbie beginner, like what they learned from it, most of the guys would say my AA reduced and I feel more comfortable around women. That was the biggest thing. So I think even for like RSD, even though I will shit on them nonstop about how they don't actually teach anyone anything, and they're just like motivators essentially, it's just like you can do it, is even with those students, I think if you looked at before and after, the fact that they just went out for a week and gamed with like-minded people and had that like level of confidence, you actually find that probably their results and even their like self-subjective ability to speak to women improved. Now, the problem is you're not going to see a huge drastic, when I say results, I'm like improved interactions. When you actually look at how many girls they're getting laid with or how many relationships they're forming, just getting over AA isn't enough to bridge that gap of actually sleeping with someone. So even though they have longer interactions, they'll be opening more people, they'll probably feel more confident in themselves, they're probably going to be better on dates, they probably wouldn't have results. So it depends what you're saying by actually success. So given those metrics of like being more smooth, having better res or whatever it was, I think that would actually slightly improve just from anyone going out with someone that's going to motivate them and someone that's going to tell them it's going to be okay. Now, if you look at our boot camps, we're adding a lot more to that. So where we're going through a lot of mindsets, there's a lot of mindset coaching. There's obviously huge amounts of technical game, but when we say technical game, we're actually focusing on subcoms a lot of the time. So a lot of boot camps, we're getting girls in and we're getting students to role play over and over again, right? We're getting comfortable in these situations and then telling them, okay, listen, you need to slow down. You need to be holding more eye contact here. We're actually showing them the right way to go about this. So yeah, if I was to give you a percentage of the amount of guys that have improved from our first to second boot camp, it's going to be 100%. But I think that's a disingenuous number to give because, as I said, I think if I got fucking someone from the street and put them with like any random coach to go out for a week, they're going to improve. If I'm looking at, okay, actual results, are these people getting laid more often or having better dynamics within the girls that they're seeing, depending how advanced they are? That would also be a huge number. Like, I can't think of anyone right now where on the second boot camp, I've said to them, bro, you haven't improved since the first time I saw you. I just haven't. Now, obviously, there are guys. I can think of someone that was on our most recent boot camp where they were at a very like slightly improved level from at the end of the boot camp. So essentially they improved on boot camp. And then at the end, the last time I saw them like 2 years ago, they were like slightly better since then. And so that's a situation where I'm like, dude, what the fuck have you been doing in the last like couple of years? Right. And it's like, okay, I've been studying, I've been like trying to get my life sorted, blah, blah. Okay, that's fair. But at the same time, there needs to be chat about, well, what are you going to do at the end of this boot camp, right? Are we just going to go back to, okay, we're motivated on boot camp, then do nothing fucking afterwards? So it's tough to give you a number here, but I will give you this answer. Almost every single guy is improving this invisible game in the time of the boot camp. When they come back, most of them have tangible results to show for it. But I'm sure there are some guys that don't, to answer the question.
All right, I appreciate that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make one last comment, and then I'm gonna hand it back to you and Goatstar. Mm-hmm. But what I would say is and you're welcome to respond to this as well if you want. But what I would say is, first, would RSD really give any other different answer than the one that you just gave? Obviously, RSD are gonna say something similar in the sense that they're gonna say that even if you have a radical hard case newbie, that doesn't get any results, but the fact that he went out there and he started approaching, and maybe his anxiety reduced, maybe he learned a little bit of eye contact, they would say, "Oh, that's results, bro. That's results, bro. That's 100%, bro." So they would they might answer the same sort of way in order to defend their business. But I would say if the black pill is true, I would say that there is a cap. There is a cap on how much you can improve. I think that's the general point I wanted to make. And I would say also not just in terms of the quality. So some people are going to improve less than other people in the sense of quality. So someone might be able to improve their eye contact, but they might not be able to be as relaxed as say like Johnny, or as smooth as Johnny, as charismatic as Marcus Wolf. That would take maybe another 5 to 10 years. Versus quantity cap. A quantity cap would be like actually in terms of like hardcore objective results, like demonstrable attraction and getting laid, and results in that sense is much lower. You're talking like something like below 10 or 5%. But I'd like to resume this conversation if you're interested at some point in the future. But I appreciate you having me on, bro. And
I'll just comment on that, bro. Let me just respond to that quickly. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be like as good faith as possible with the answer, but to be honest with you, yeah, like a lot of our students have amazing results on the bootcamp and following it. And when I say results, it means they're getting laid on bootcamp when they usually haven't. And yeah, there is caps on certain things, but those caps are massive. And I wouldn't even call them a cap. It's just like decreased return on investment. But when I'm thinking about game, there's so many fucking levels to this, bro. So if we have a newbie coming in that's never fucking spoken to a girl, then yeah, I want to get to them to a point where they're dealing with they're going through it, they're having good mindsets, they're able to go up and speak to women, they're starting to build attraction. So by the end of the boot camp, I want to get them to the point where, yeah, they can pull. But to get to that point, there's so many things to overcome. Sometimes we get students on boot camp that are already getting fucking laid, but they have zero retention. They don't know how to actually deal with a relationship. And that is a huge cap in itself. I have guys like a 300 lead camp coming on boot camp. This was in Poland just 2 boot camps ago, which 300 lead count, amazing with women, but zero retention almost. Like really hard to actually hold relationships or be happy within them. So a lot of that 2 weeks was dealing with that issue, right? So there's a lot more to game than just, this technical approach of like how to speak to someone, and then this invisible game of how to be more cool, calm, and relaxed. So yeah, I mean, most of our students are having.
So what's your concrete example of what they've gained here? So like other than technical or invisible, like what have they gained? Just to be clear.
So yeah, okay, I'll go through. So let's give different scenarios of students and what they gain from it, okay? So if you have a complete newbie beginner, let's say someone that's like never opened someone before, right? I have students before that have like, I've never day-game, like what the fuck is this? I feel really nervous about it, blah, blah, blah. So these students, I want to get to a point where they're actually able to go out. And when I say no AA, by the way, just to clarify, everyone's going to have a response. They're all going to get a little bit nervous. When I say no AA, I think about it as the ability to have like a biological response, but be able to deal with that, process it, and still go up to a goal in a way that is appearing confident to that goal, right? So I want to get into a point where they get over AA, where they have a structure and know what to say. They're actually building attraction with women just a lot easier than people fucking think. The tough part with this student is going to be getting to the point where they can pull and deal with objections. So in the first like few days or like beginning phase of like this coaching, that's where I want to get to, the attraction phase. After that, it's like, okay, how do I problem solve? Because that's a huge deal. You can have girls that are attracted to you, and I think this is what the black pill miss. You can have girls like every single night. I could send out Dan Speck to just join our mastermind, right? Like he's a guy from Playing with Fire as well, incredibly good looking. Like you guys would rate him like a 9 or 10. I've gamed with this guy a bunch of times. He will get attraction from almost every single fucking girl. Like it's insane, right? Some clubs are just getting him to take his shirt off, bro, and all these girls come up to him. He struggles to pull, because unless the girl is leading it, he struggles. So that's someone that actually needs to learn to lead how to deal with a pull and deal with the fucking objections that the girl give, which is night game all the time going to be like my friend. I'm sure everyone in chat and when you go to pull a girl at night game, she's going to give you some bullshit around my friend. Now, that is a skill that you have to learn to actually deal with and overcome. So that's an example there. The other example I gave was, a student with a 300 lead count that's struggling in relationships is, okay, how do I deal with actually creating retention here? Now, that big problem there was being incredibly needy. Now, this came from like mindset issues that we had to solve, but also came from like simple behaviors that you can adapt. So, for example, most people after sex, what do? They get very talkative and they try to meet up with the girl again, right? So, when are you free next time? Blah, blah. A simple behavior fix for these individuals is telling them, listen, right? And we just had a huge discussion about this recently, but listen, instead of after sex talking a lot, just shut the fuck up, right? Just lay there. And now the girl's going to think, what's wrong? Like, why did he not enjoy the sex? Like, why is he? And the girl will start talking. She'll start chasing a little bit. And instead of asking the date then and there, ask in text. Have her going home wondering, is this going to happen? Is he not? Does he want to see me again? This simple little behavior change, very simple, is actually going to breed results right away. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that you actually need to build into your psyche here, right? That's an easy behavior switch. But if you're that needy guy that's worried about losing your goal, it's going to pop up in different ways, obviously. So it's about getting that feedback of, okay, this girl does want to see me again.
Yeah.
I don't know this feedback loop of always losing goals. So now you need to like try to meet up with them all the time. And that's going to breed this invisible game. Right. So the behaviors give you success, which give you a good mindset. The good mindset gives you the invisible game. And now the student's less needy with these girls that he's sleeping with all the time. He's getting more girls chasing him. And now he's actually able to build a rotation, which he has. So there's a lot of different examples. Obviously, we could go all day with this. But to generally answer your question, I get your point. Right. I understand that, especially like some coaches that I see out there, it's literally just telling students what to say and that's it. And they're still nervous. They're still unsure. They're still having bad game.
I mean,
so
the example that you gave, the caveat of this guy is like he's like a 9, and he's like a 9 or a 9.5, and his era in game isn't really.
Sorry, you're talking about Dan Specs?
Fundamental. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. You're talking about okay. I thought you were talking about the guy with 300 late count. Okay, you're talking about the guy with the shirt off in the club, right?
No, yeah, I'm talking about the guy. I think you mentioned him. You said that he's part of your mastermind group, that he comes from LXPWF. You said that black pillars would say he's a Chad or a 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
In terms of that guy, right?
Giga Chad.
What I'm saying about that guy is that guy has no fundamental invisible or inner game issues, right? I would say the example you've given in the case of him is that there's a subcategory of technical game, which is logistics, right? And so he's really, really bad at logistics. And if he just does these tweaks that you're showing him, like these 20% of his generating his low lay count or whatever it is, of these logistical issues. If you maximize that, if you optimize that, he's going to get so much better results. I don't think any black pillar in the world is really going to challenge that or question that. I think we're all going to agree that this guy has a solid baseline that he has to just, tweak a few little features, make a few little optimizations, and his results are going to skyrocket. They're going to blow up. The problem is you can't do that with the average guy. You can't do that with mental cells, and you can't do that with sub 5s and sub 4s. It's a completely different process. But anyway, as you said, this could go on forever. I'll let you respond to that, and I'll let you and Gantstar go for it.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I agree. I'm giving different examples. Obviously, if I have a guy that's very low, I don't know, SMV, like, so I've got like short Indian students, for example, that are chubby, right? Which you guys would probably rate like a 3. With those guys, I'm very brutally honest. I tell them, and it's funny, he was actually on a boot camp where Dan Specht was like visiting us and was there at the same time, and they would game together. It was quite funny. And with someone like him, I'm not sitting there being like, okay, bro, like attraction's easy for you. All we have to worry about is like how to take a girl home. It's like, no, I'm like, I looked at him and I was like, this is going to be tough. Okay. You look like a middle-aged fucking dad. So first of all, like day game, get rid of the backpack and the stupid hat. We need to get you some fucking clothes, get a haircut, and long term, you need to lose the weight, right? That's the first thing we said to him, right? And then the next thing is, okay, look, girls are going to look at you and see you as Indian and see, like, they're not going to be attracted. Most girls looking at you are not going to be attracted. So it's going to be tough. You're really going to have to, like, have some behavior. And this guy was a virgin as well. And so I'm like, you're really going to have some behaviors here, right? Like, you're going to have to, accommodate this somehow. And this guy was actually, like, when it comes to the invisible game, to give credit here, he was actually really good. Like, very confident, like one of these guys I'm talking about, like uncalibrated in the sense of like just super confident opening, very confident in himself, but never got laid. Yeah, I mean, I'm fucking honest. I don't give a shit. And this guy got laid on boot camp, right? On our 2 weeks in, I think it was like Budapest. We're running it. This was like 3 years ago though. And yeah, this guy got laid, and MVP spam chat. This guy got laid, and yeah, I mean, it came down to his behaviors in the end. So I'm look, when he would game with Daniel, they joke and say they're like brothers, right? When he would game with Daniel, he would get all the attraction. Obviously, no girl was coming up and being like, "Hey, listen, short Indian man, I find you more attractive than this 6 foot like Greek fucking god over here." That wouldn't happen. But when they start to speak, they're actually listening to the short Indian guy more. One, because the other guy wouldn't fucking speak. And then over time, during that boot camp, he was able to build attraction with women. He was able to sexually DHV. That was like our go-to. It's like, okay, you're going to be a fucking sex god. That's going to be your way in here. If girls aren't going to be super attracted to you, at least they're going to be curious about having the best time of their life in bed. So I agree.
Dude, you got to bring this guy on, man. You got to bring him on. You got to show some receipts. I want to see this guy. I want to talk to him. We want to see this on your videos, bro.
Yeah, I can bring him on. We still keep in contact. So we can get him on a stream. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Cool. Anyway, bro, I appreciate that. Have a good day, man. What time
is
it over there?
Good chatting to you, man. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, midday. This is early for me, bro. I had to wake up. I'm fucking tired as shit. But yeah, thanks for jumping on, man. It's good seeing you again.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, bro. All right, Gangstar.
Yo, all good?
Hey, man. Yeah, I got you.
All right. So, I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna bore the conversation after that. Like, so.
That's okay. Hit me.
But yeah, I'm just gonna say, look, I just felt like you were very disingenuous, like with your whole classification of Jake's skill level. Like you were trying to pretend like that. Oh, he was a complete novice. You gave him an hour phone call, so you're like, how would you expect him to make a drastic improvement? But Jake was also Alex from playing with Fire's client, and he's done multiple speed dates, and he has a lot of infield experience. So I feel like you were totally downplaying his actual level because you were obviously not being honest about him not performing the way you anticipated.
Nah, man, that's he. If I'm honest with you, he performed way better than I thought he would. Right? I think I said this on stream. I don't know if I said it just to him, but I'm pretty sure I said this on stream, where I said I'm impressed with how much he was implementing, because usually after an hour call, like the most students usually like try to implement is like the open, right? Usually like after an hour call, like they'll go out and be like, okay, I'll try this new open that he told me about. Excuse me. But he was actually implementing like a whole structure. Like he was actually repeating the same structure over and over again, which was impressive. Now, obviously, like, and I know this, like I tell this to students all the time, whenever you try something new, you're actually typically going to be a little bit worse in terms of your subcoms. So Gangstar, if I was to tell you, okay, I want you to go out and I want you to say this opener, then ask this question and say this and this and this, you're going to be a little bit rattled, and you're not going to be able to say that or do that as confidently as you usually would, right? It's a normal expectation you have when you try something new. So I was actually impressed. Now, I didn't know any of his previous experience, if I'm honest with you. I think I'd seen him on one speed date, and he told me that Alex never taught him anything cold approach. He may have taken some text game from him, but he said like he never got any cold approach coaching. So I honestly, like, I didn't know his level. The first time I've seen any infield of him other than like a speed date, which I thought he actually performed badly. And I think it was when he was like versing Lux Farrell or something in a speed date. And I actually said Lux Farrell had better game than him at that time. Right. So they disagreed with me and said that it was a bad performance and he usually performs better. But that's all I've seen in him. So yeah, I don't believe I was disingenuous. I actually was just giving my thoughts.
I mean, look, it's just the way you like formatted your sentence. You were trying to make it out like, oh, he's like a novice, you know, what can you expect in an hour phone call? That's the way you phrased it. So I'm just saying, based on that, it's disingenuous because he wasn't a novice at that point.
Okay, when I say novice, I mean like novice to coaching, right? So if I have someone that's come to me, Gantstar, for example, and has been going out, let's say even 5 years. If someone's been going out for 5 years, and then I'm like, okay, bro, so what's your game like? What do you do? They're like, I don't know. I just kind of get drunk and I try to speak to girls and blah, blah, but I don't really have that many results. I'm considering them a novice. So that's kind of how I'm basing it. Now, if I have someone come to me, maybe it's like, look, I got 5-year experience. I'm getting laid all the fucking time. I'm really smooth with women. It's great. Da, 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 da. And I see their game and it's really good. I'm probably going to classify them as a lot more advanced than a novice. But just from what I saw of him and from his experience, I didn't think his game was that great. If I'm just being straight up honest, like I just didn't think it was. And I think I said that even before this competition was started. If you look back at my stream, where I think it was like Luxrel versus him, I said Luxrel had better game. They disagreed with me because, I mean, I was basing off a 2-minute fucking speed there. That's why I had to base it off. But that was my impression. And from the infield that we saw of the actual competition, at best I'm going to call it like mediocre or like moderate. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. Do you think he's advanced? I don't know.
Well, no, I'm just saying based on his experience, he should be kind of advanced because apparently he does have quite a lot of experience from cold approaching. And as well with Alex, it's not that he just got text like tutorials from him. He was also getting like basic kind of how to speak to women too. So Alex did coach him. He was paying Alex. And he'd done the speed dates as Alex's clients say, oh, look, this is my client. See, he's going to do much better on these speed dates as you see him gradually progressing. So I'm just saying he's not, the way you were trying to act like, oh, he's, not a good representative of the game because he's not like, experienced, but he actually does have experience. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he's not a good representative. I mean, I don't know him before the hour call. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I never saw anything out of it. Like, from my point of view, I had someone come to me and say, these are my sticking points, these are my problems, I got a competition, blah, blah. I was like, all right, here's a quick structure that can help you. You're going to be able to like DHV and, share more of yourself, essentially. That was the call was based on. I gave him that structure. And obviously, I would say it's hard to actually have a lot of improvement for an hour call. I think with any fucking skill whatsoever on this earth. So I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, you can't compare or like you can't judge game because this guy's never gone out before and he's never spoken to a woman and we're just starting out. All I'm saying is based on the structure that I give him, you can't expect him to be having amazing results off it after he's been practicing it for like a week or something. That was my point to be made. I think in terms of like actually using this competition as a way to judge game and looks, I think is like entertaining and it's cool. But I don't think you can actually use it as a proper example of like comparison because as I said to looks, like I think he's like talking about invisible game, I think is the word DK used for it. I think his invisible game actually isn't too bad, right? Like in terms of he's probably like top 5 percentile of being relaxed talking to women, which is massive. That has huge attraction points. I think in terms of like him being expressive, he could be like way more expressive and build way more attraction. So I think like, sorry, bro. I think using these as comparisons is like difficult. So I'm not sitting here and being like, oh, you can't compare because he's a novice. I was just talking about like the hour coaching call. Like you can't say, oh, he should be amazing at game from an hour coaching call. That's the only point I was making on that.
Okay. Look, I can let that go. It's all right. But okay, but what about like you're saying that he actually did better than what you thought he would? I mean, like what you were on about earlier about the average guy and like what is he going to need to succeed? Like, yeah, a guy like Jake, he's going to need to, use his status or clout, like, something like telling the girls, oh, I have a tech company. I'm in charge of 50 guys.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
So, like, are you saying like that was good? Like, that's what you teach him to do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, what you need to realize here, Gangstar, is I think a lot of guys, when they hear me say, oh, you're in a tech company, bro, you need to tell girls you're in a tech company. Is what they think is, oh, we're trying to create some like exchange where you go up and you're like, hey, I have a lot of money. I'm going to take you to Rosa Sky, which is an expensive bar. I'm going to pay for everything for you. By the way, there's a Louis Vuitton shop on the way. We could grab whatever you want from there. Do you want to come on a date with me? Like, that's obviously not the fucking approach that you want to take. Now, what you want to do is the reason you let people know you own a tech company, and more importantly, like, yes, I have a lot of employees, blah, blah, is it's an attractive trait because it shows you have a high education, shows you have a lot of resources, but it also shows you're a leader. You have like a lot of these dominant traits. So if you actually look into studies, about what women find attractive outside of looks, saying you own a tech company is going to tick a lot of these off. Then she's going to assume leader, probably very dominant, very successful, very intelligent guy. These are all traits and attributes that women find attractive. So it's not just the fact, like when women say they like a guy that has a good job, it's not just this like evolutionary psych of I need someone to support me. It's also just because, okay, this guy has a lot of these other traits that are attractive to a woman. So yes, I would be saying that I own a tech company is a part of the way to demonstrate value. But the other two hugely important parts when it comes to substituting looks is going to be understanding the woman and being good in bed, right? These are two massive ones, but the tech company is obviously helpful.
Well, like, I mean, obviously, I know that him saying I own a tech company is going to be more appealing than saying I work in McDonald's. But the point is, how is that
True.
game? But how is that game? Because you're telling him to, impress with his cash and his success. But not every guy has that, so you can't be giving that advice to everyone because that's not their situation.
Okay, let's start with this. What's your definition of game?
Social skills.
Social skills.
Yeah, like just how you can hold a conversation and, like you say, calibrate, to how the girl's reacting to you, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. So I would incorporate a lot more things into game. So maybe we need like a new definition. But when I talk about game, I'm just thinking about like this process and ability to be attracted with women, to sleep with the women, to have like a healthy relationship with women. Like that's what I think about when I say game. So when I'm telling guys to get a haircut, to me, like that's a part of game. Like to me, I never came to give you a little bit of my background. Like when I got into game, I didn't even know it was game. I was just like, I'm going to go out and try get women and I'm going to do whatever works. So it was like this huge trial and error thing. So a part of me of like, when I went through a point of like taking steroids and like trying to, was all like game. And to me, the game is just like getting good with the women. So the way I see it here in terms of like, how is that game was your question in terms of like letting you know you're in a tech company, is a big part of attraction is demonstrating to the girl things about yourself that they find attractive. That's a huge part of it for me. So the first thing when you go up to a girl is demonstrating that you're confident, that you're relaxed. It's demonstrating that you can take her on this emotional roller coaster. So actually spiking up the conversation a little bit. The next part is demonstrating parts of yourself that are attractive. So a tech company, leading that's super important. Now, let's say, for example, to answer your question about McDonald's, if I have a student that's 18 and works at McDonald's, obviously I'm not going to be like, hey, bro, just tell you got a tech company, right? It's not going to work. But what I would say is, okay, what are your aspirations in life? Now, if this kid has zero aspiration, I'm focusing on that. I'm not even getting him to speak to women yet. It's like, you need to have like some aspirations, what you want to do. So let's say he wants to own a tech company one day, right? I'm working at McDonald's. I'm about to start my, I don't know. I don't know anything about tech coding degree. I don't know. Right. And yeah, one day I want to have like my own tech company. And this is my app idea, but he works at McDonald's and he's 18. So when he's going up and speaking to women and they ask, what do you do? That's what I'm going to get him to talk about. He's like, okay, look, so I've got a big plan. He's going to be like, what? So I'm going to be working in coding, like I'm going to study coding, but I've got this app idea. I want to start up this tech company, and this app idea, I want to XYZ. Now, you don't even need to mention McDonald's. It's not a lie, right? I'm not saying like, say this if this is not what you have in mind, but it's like, tell them about your aspirations. Tell them about what you want to achieve, because that's attractive, right? A guy with a purpose is attractive. That's why these guys in bands that have no fucking followers, but go up to a girl and say, I'm in a band and I want to make it big. They also have a level of like status because of that. They also have a level of attraction because of that. So that would be my advice to these guys that are working at McDonald's.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like you're saying that you're going to need something to like get these girls. It's like you're saying that you're going to need to either have some success or talk about the way you're trying to get success. It's not like just talking to a girl and being confident and just having her like you for you and, just the way you look and all that.
What do you mean by like you for you? What does that mean?
Just be attracted to you physically. Like, why is that? Like,
no. So if I have a girl, Gangstar, that like girl that I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
Say she says to me, "Hey, Marcus, I need to be honest with you about something. And I'm like, what's up, babe? And she's like, you're not exactly my type looks wise. Right? Like, I think you're cute and all, but you're not exactly my type. Like, the reason I like you is because you're like very confident. You have a lot of women. You're really good in bed. And that's why I like you. Does that mean she doesn't like me for me?
Well, I mean, I don't think she must have found you hideous, though. Like, you must have met the minimum threshold.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope she doesn't get like throw up in the morning after being with me. But let's use that example. Say she's like, I'm not that physically attracted to you, but fuck, you're so good in bed, and you're really confident. And I just love being around you, and you give me this feeling, right?
Yeah, but you have.
Well,
let's say for
example, I've dated a girl. There's one girl that I've been seeing for 6 years. Say she says to me, I don't really find you that attractive anymore, but I'm still in love with you. Does she still like me for me?
Like, when I said like you for you, I just meant physically. Like, that's all I meant. I didn't mean in the other way. Because like you're saying, oh, she likes you because you're good in bed. Well, obviously you have to get to that point. So I'm saying, what did she like about you to make her want to sleep with you? Because I'm saying
I told her I was going to be good in bed.
What, say again?
I told her I was going to be good in bed. So I've had girls, for example, that have rejected me, don't find me that attractive, but then I demonstrate parts about myself, which is one, understanding them, two, being really good in bed, like, and then, obviously everything else. I run a business, I travel around the world, blah, blah, blah. But these are the big ones typically. So if she sleeps with me, is that because of me? Or is it some like external factor, would you say?
I mean, I just don't believe that if a girl is not in any way attracted to you, that you can just say that, like, I'm good in bed. Like, just because you say that, she's not going to find it appealing if she's not finding you attractive, so.
Okay. So if Jake, some girl was like, he's okay, right? I don't find him repulsive or disgusting or whatever word you used, and kind of rejects him. But then he's like, hey, by the way, I run a tech company. I can tell you like dominant guys, like blah, blah, blah. He runs his quote unquote game. And then she's like, okay, I want to sleep with this guy now. Would you say that she doesn't like him for him?
Well, again, like it just depends on what he said. Like if it's the fact that with the tech company, if something like that impressed her with the status, but I don't think he can tell her sexual stuff if she's not attracted to him. I don't think that that's going to appeal to her because she'll be like, what? But I don't like you in that way, so I don't care if you're good in bed,
Okay, I don't really feel like you answered the question. I guess the point here I want to make is that one mindset that I think guys fall into, which is a mistake, is taking their attributes and externalizing them. So, for example, this is something that I see, which is the other way around, which guys are like, oh, she just wanted to sleep with me for my looks, right? I'm just a good looking guy, but she doesn't really like me. Then I see other guys that, for example, talk, especially on Tinder, talk about how good they are in bed. And then they'll say like, oh, I feel like the girl just slept with me because she realized that I was going to tie her up and give her lots of orgasms and she can't get that anywhere else. Like, I don't really know if she likes me. So I think this can be a mistake. I think that guys need to incorporate every attribute about themselves as themselves. Now, obviously, there's a limit here. Like, if you just pay a girl for sex, then obviously she's not really fucking you for you. And you can't say, oh, this money is a part of me or some shit. But I think when you talk about your job, talk about your success with women, talk about how good you are in bed, and the girl becomes attracted because of that. And I agree, like if you're a one and super hideous, it's going to be extremely difficult to do that. But as an average looking dude or someone slightly below average, where you mention these attributes and they become attracted to those, I think it's important to say she likes me for me because of this. Because if you just think that it's genuine when she finds you physically attractive, then what happens when you get old and ugly? Right? Like, does she not like you anymore? Like, what happens when you try to build attraction and you feel like there's no choice but to stand there and try to be good looking? I think it takes the power away from you, and it actually corrupts guys to think that their attributes and skills and a part of their personality isn't attractive. So that's what I'd be very careful of with that mindset of like liking you for you.
Well, look, I mean, for black pill, obviously we just say like genuine desire, that the girl must physically want you in that way. But you're saying the opposite here. You're saying that she might not want you in that way, but you can use your words to make her want you that way. That's where we kind of disagree. Like,
okay, so let's go a bit deeper into this. What do you think creates genuine desire?
Like, yeah, like look at Jeremy Meek's mugshot. Like when girls saw that, that was genuine desire. Them trying to pay.
Okay, so looks. Okay,
yeah.
So good looking face. What else?
That was it, because you can't say that he had a good job or anything at the time or some success.
No, but you're picking one guy. I'm saying for women, right? What do you think they build genuine desire within them? So if they go on 10 speed dates with 10 average looking dudes, and one of them they say, look, I really like this guy, right? Like, or what creates that genuine desire?
Again, could be could be his status, some kind of money, his success, anything like that.
Okay, so status builds genuine desire then.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's why we're talking about it. That's why we want to display our status. What else builds genuine desire?
Yeah, like the girl could have a niche interest that you're also interested in. You could have a special talent, could be a singer, guitar player, something like that.
Perfect. So this is what I'm teaching guys. It's like, figure out what girls' genuine desire is going to come from. So looks, 100%. Become better looking, looks max, right? But then think about what else. Okay, so if she's got an interest in your status, demonstrate status. If she has a genuine desire in these little hobbies that you have, demonstrate that. If she has a genuine desire in your ability to like sexually satisfy, give her that. If she has a genuine desire in the way you make her feel, then put her on this emotional roller coaster. If she has a genuine desire about the way that she feels small and like comforted in front of you, make her feel that. Like, this is what game is to me. It's about accessing these genuine desires.
Well, my point with Jake was that like the whole owning a tech company was like his main criteria. Like every conversation he had to bring that up. Like, so I'm saying if he didn't have that, if he did not have that, I don't know what you could have really told him to do otherwise, because he wasn't going to get genuine attraction because of his looks. So he needed that. So without that, I don't know how he would have succeeded.
Yeah, but okay. There's a couple of points here. I agree, right? In 5 minutes, there's not much you can get to. It's very difficult. You have to talk about some very superficial things, some superficial genuine desires, right? Now, maybe one of the girl's genuine desires is that she really cares about the way you treat like family and friends or some shit like that. Or like she really likes talking about deep conversations. Maybe that's one genuine desire that she has. You can't do that in 5 minutes. Right, you can't get to these like very interesting. Like maybe it's religion. She needs someone that's like very devoted. Like you can't get to that in 5 minutes. You're gonna have to talk about superficial things about you traveling, some like what you do for work. Like this is where we have to do in 5 minutes. Now, I would never tell a student to number close after 5 minutes. I don't think any coach with half a brain would tell you to do that. I think looks for all even felt like a couple of interactions he might have even been able to pull, right? I don't think he's leaving after 5 minutes. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for him, but that would be my impression. So yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at like the ideal scenario, I look at my game, I'm going to start with little things. Like I run a business and I get to travel around the world, right? I'm going to start with things like, depending where I am in the country, I'm Australian. In the world, I'm Australian. That's also like a genuine desire that girls have, is this stereotype of like Australian guys. But then I'm going to go into some deeper topics, obviously, right? The biggest one for me is sexual. I think the deepest intimacy you can ever have with another individual is sex. That is my thought. That is my belief. So if I can get to a point where I'm talking about that experience, where I'm understanding her sexual archetype, like the way I think about it is girls are walking around this world where they're able to find a good looking guy. They're able to find a guy with money. They're able to find a guy with status. What is like this invisible trait that's really hard to find is someone that sexually gets them and understands them and can give them this intense sexual experience. You speak to a lot of girls, that's what they're lacking most of the time with hookups and in relationships. So if I can actually show them that and I can identify what they want, then that's a huge genuine attraction trigger. They're going to be very excited by that discussion. And so, agree. Yeah, I agree. Like if we told him you can't talk about your company, there are other ways he can build attraction but we're probably going to need more than 5 minutes, right? But I think in those 5 minutes, other ways to build attraction, putting her on that emotional roller coaster, coming off as a very confident guy, and just that is going to have some level of pre-selection to it. So yeah, that's how I'd answer that question.
Well, look, I would agree that if you can talk about sexual stuff with the girl, then that's going to be a huge advantage to you if she is feeling you in that way. But I don't think a girl can feel like that, you know, just by you telling her, oh, I'm good at sex, you know.
What are you basing that on? How many times have you tried this or seen this?
Well, I mean, come on, man. You know, like if, like you said, like a bald, chubby Indian man talks about sex to a girl, she's not going to be interested, you know?
Yeah, I think there's at some level like a gate, perhaps, that like if you're just incredibly ugly, it's going to be incredibly difficult. But it's even for that short Indian chubby guy, by the way, he did build a lot of attraction with girls by talking about sex and talking about his ability to be good in the bedroom. It's someone like David Swift, for example, when he used to be like very overweight, it's all he talked about. Look, I wrote a guide on how to eat pussy. It was his main talking point. And so girls, even though they might not be that physically attracted to him, I agree there might be some level of like, well, he could be worse, right? He could be more ugly. Is that they hear that and they'd be like, oh, I want to know more. He's like, yeah, you know, it's typically like make girls come 10 to 15 times. I've never been able to come before. You've never been able to come before? What the fuck? That's crazy. Okay, look, girl, we're going to have to fix that. Now, obviously, I'm like making this short for the, you know, this is not exactly how it goes down every single time, but that's the type of conversation that can be had. And then he's like, yeah, look, this girl, for example, he brings up like receipts and screenshots. He's like, yeah, this calendar model that I had the other week, blah, blah. So now it's like, instead of just being this like fat, chubby guy that probably has no women, this guy's very experienced with women. He's very comfortable around the girl. He's very confident. He's putting her on a little bit of a roller coaster. He's got this amazing sexual experience. He's got a lot of girls after him. He's showing that like this builds crazy amounts of attraction. Can you do this with every single guy after an hour phone call? No, obviously not. But that is what he learned to do with his looks. And so there is like an element here where you can substitute genuine attraction with your behaviors.
Oh, I had a point there. I can't think. Well, look, basically, for me, it's very hard to believe. I mean, it depends on what the standard of girls you're talking here. Are you saying that these
good looking, like girls out of his league is how you describe it. Girls that are attractive, like these are not like, I don't want to be mean. These are not women that you would consider unattractive.
Okay, so would you say someone in your position, if you're coaching these guys, if you had like a below average looking girl, would you think that would be appropriate to bring up if people had suspicions about your actual legitimacy?
Yeah, I'd say if I had a below average looking girl, I don't understand
as your main girl, yeah.
If I have a below average looking girl, would I bring it up? Is that the question?
No. Would you think it'd be appropriate for people to bring it up?
Oh, okay. So if I'm dating like some unattractive girl, and then you were to say, "Hey, Mark is dating an unattractive girl, but he's a dating coach," would that be appropriate? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to bring it up, that's fine. I mean, it's I don't understand the word like, is it appropriate? I guess this is what I'd say on the topic, right? Because I don't know where you're going with this, but I know there are some coaches that have some women that you might not find super attractive. If I look at all the girls that I see on a regular basis, for example, typically what you'll find is there's a mix. There's going to be some girls that are like what I would consider like very attractive, that, you know, my 9s or 10s. So there's some girls like that I'd be seeing. But there's also some girls that I'd be seeing that I would consider average for me. And the reason I would see those girls is because they have other traits that I generally find attractive. So I'm also not just going to base it on looks. There's going to be some girls that I hang out with that I find way more entertaining, way more fun to be around, have high levels like empathy and kindness. And those are the girls that I want in my rotation. So yeah, I'm also critical of dating coaches that are like walking around with very unattractive women, but I understand if they have like a range, why they have a range. Does that answer your question?
I mean, I suppose, but do you not think, like, obviously, if you're meant to be like an expert at picking up women, then you should be able to get attractive girls with all these positive traits as well? No?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. If you're a dating coach, you should be able to get someone out of your league physically, of course. I agree.
But then what about your buddy Alex, right?
Alex Lindbergh or Alex playing with fire?
I don't know. Well, if he has a girlfriend, I'd be curious to see her. But yeah.
He's got a huge rotation of a bunch of girls, but they're all very attractive. I think when it comes to blackpilling, Alex is he likes very good looking women. You told me Alex was playing with fire, right?
Yeah.
I mean, his girl's okay, isn't she? I don't think I've seen photos.
I think she's below average, right? No.
I don't know. I'll need to see photos. I saw her on a video stream once. I don't think she was like below average. I would have said average.
Well, this is why I want to establish your standards, because you're talking about like 9s and 10s, but I mean, like he considers his girlfriend a 7 out of 10, right? And he considers Megan Fox a 7 out of 10. So for him, he's like, oh, I'm dating a girl on Megan Fox looks level. So of course that sounds good on paper. But then when you look at her, you're like, what? Are you crazy? Like obviously he's deluded, right?
Yeah, I think Megan Fox is more attractive, but yeah, I mean, if you want to look at the types of girls, if you go to my sex coaching website, there's like 4 or 5 girls that I have scenes in there with that I was seeing at the time. So those are the types of girls that I'm seeing, like on a regular basis. Yeah, look, I want to be careful here, right? Like, obviously, Alex is a mate, and I don't want to be talking about him or his girlfriend on stream when he's not actually able to say anything. But to me, she seems like an average-looking girl. To me, I don't see the problem with him wanting to date a girl that he, from a niche point of view, it sounds like he really likes these like big booty Colombian girls, which I can't fucking stand. And he's got an open relationship where he's seeing other girls on the side. So that would be my take on that.
Yeah, but do you understand like how that transpired, the whole one-way open relationship, right?
No.
Like
I don't.
Obviously he said we were in an open relationship and she was on the video stream with him and saying, oh yeah, but I can see other guys too. And then obviously he was like, yeah, obviously I can't ask her to not, because that wouldn't be fair. And then he got a load of hate. And then out of nowhere, he's suddenly, oh, we changed it now. We're actually in a one-way open relationship. So like some people doubt that that's credible.
I want to be really careful about talking about him when he's not actually able here to defend any of these claims, because I haven't seen this video. I don't know if there's any evidence of it, and he's not actually able here to defend any of these claims. What I will say, like if we want to bring it back to me, is I have no problem with two-way open relationships. All my open relationships, I tell the girl I want it to be two-way, because for me, I think it sets a better frame. And for me, I'm going to kind of lose respect for a girl if I'm sitting here telling her, like, you can only sleep with me, you can't be with any other man. And she's like, okay. Now, yes, there are some girls that prefer that and like that. And sure, with those girls, have a one-way open relationship. But for me, I have no problem if I'm going to be fucking around with all these other girls. I don't have a problem if you want to fuck around with guys. Now, most times when I tell girls that, they don't. Like, most of my two-way open relationships end up being one way because the girls just like don't want to, and that's up to them. But I don't think I know there's a lot of like cuck talk as soon as someone says, like, especially red pill shit. As soon as someone says like it's a two-way open relationship, everyone's like, oh my god, so you sit there and watch your girlfriend get fucked, and you, dude, it's respect. It's relationship agreement. If you're gonna be out fucking a bunch of girls, I think she should be allowed the same privilege. But that's my own personal
okay.
So if he did have a two-way open, I don't mind.
Look, I didn't mean to get too much into that, but it's just the fact that you said that you would think it's appropriate for a dating coach to be called out if his girl is below subpar. Like, you know, like you said that is a fair comment to make as like someone who would be willing to purchase the product.
Yeah, but I think Alex also has slept with a lot of girls, has a lot of lay reports on that, and I'm sure his students have had success as well. So I think when it comes to like dating coaching, if you look at like me and Alex and Swift, yeah, we can sit here and be like, we're fucking a lot of like hot girls outside of our league, and that's cool, that's great. But I also think there could be a defense made for other coaches who most of them I think are absolute shit. So I don't know why I'm like giving them a defense here, but I think there is a defense for some coaches to say, okay, like maybe my personal game, I've decided to like be with this girl that may not be the most attractive girl in the world, but I really like her other qualities, and that's why I'm with her. and my coaching results speak for themselves, and my students are also having amazing results. So I think there is that argument to be made. But yeah, my problem is with coaches that like clean their coaches, that have barely night game, have barely got any experience, aren't able to get attractive women, and then are trying to coach you. I think that's a huge problem. I don't think that's the case with Alex whatsoever.
Well, like, would you agree though that a lot of dating coaches do kind of fabricate things, and they all doctor like their reports and all that?
Not Alex, no. If that's who you're bringing up.
No, I'm just on about dating coaches in general.
Oh, dude, don't get me started, dude.
Yeah.
I'm on your side here. Don't get me started on dating coaches, bro. The amount of students that we've had that have turned into dating coaches is crazy, bro. I could probably name off about 6 guys that have become dating coaches since getting coaching from me. And you know, it's crazy. It's such a small barrier to entry. Gangstar, you could tomorrow say, I'm a dating coach. Create a website, like nothing's stopping you from doing that. So a lot of guys try to do it, and most of them have no experience actually being good with women, and more importantly, no experience coaching. Coaching is an incredible skill in itself, right? It's like you could be really good at soccer or football, whatever you guys call it, and you know, be the best in the world, but be a fucking awful coach. So I think like coaching is a skill in itself. So dude, don't get me started on dating coaches. Like I'm on your side here. I think most of them, like 95%, are complete fucking dog shit. But if we're specifically speaking about Alex, I don't think he, you know, I'm very confidently, as I said, I'll bet my left nut on this, has ever faked Infield or lay reports or anything like that. Like he seems very humble in whenever he speaks of his own results and results of his students. So I just don't think he's doing
but like
that.
my point is that you admit that there's a lot of frauds in the industry. So someone getting into it,
100%.
So yeah, but someone trying to like learn about this, and then they find Alex, like obviously they can also come to that conclusion themselves about Alex. Oh, maybe his lay reports are doctored and all that. But then the proof would be, oh, but let's check out his actual main girl. So that's my point. I'm saying, like, if they see that and they're like, wait, this is meant to be a hot girl, like if he's meant to be an expert, right? So that's what I'm saying. Isn't it fair for an outsider to look into that and give his take on the matter? No.
Yeah, but if you're really going to be good faith about this, bro, like I get what you're saying, but why would you not just look at all the lay reports of hot girls and be like, okay, obviously there's something that's working here? Why wouldn't you look at all the testimony from students and be like, there's something working here? And then, you know, he's not selling a $10,000 product, right? So I don't even know what his product costs or like what the go is, but yeah, like, are you sitting here and saying like he's a fraud, or like I don't understand where like this question is going.
So you think that he's like meant to be an online expert, right? One of the best on YouTube, right? So you would say someone should really consider buying his coaching for that, right?
Would I say I think people should buy our coaching?
No, for online game.
Yeah, I mean we do online game. What are you talking about?
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so you would say that you can definitely improve most people's online profiles to get pretty good results, yeah?
Say it again.
So you're saying that you are confident that you could take the majority of men and get them results with online dating, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, how does Indian P, his own business partner, admit to getting less than 10 girls in his whole life on Tinder, which he pays for and has been actively using for years?
When has he said that?
I have it documented on my channel.
That's just I don't think that's true whatsoever, because
he said it multiple times.
I'll need to see that. I just don't believe it.
Do you want to pull it up or?
Yeah, please.
No. Can you? I can't. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, what am I pulling up there?
Just my channel.
Okay. Is it your name, right? Gangstar?
Yeah.
What am I looking
look
up?
for Indian P is a fraud.
Okay.
It's only like a minute. Just skip to the end. I'll tell you where.
Okay.
But just before we begin, so if you like get the proof here, would you be kind of questioning Alex's teaching and Indian P if he confirms this?
I mean, depends on the context here. Like, if he's not using Tinder, and then he says,
he pays for it.
And then he said, look, if he says, okay, for the last 5 years, I've been using Tinder and I've only got 10 girls, then yeah, I'd be questioning that for sure. Where am I looking at, bro? How deep am I going?
Not that far. Indian P's a fraud. Not see.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. Let me. Where am I going, man?
I can't see, but it's towards the end.
Okay, I'm sharing screen.
Yeah, just play from there. Yeah.
He's like, why are you being so difficult?
And their excuse is she was hot before the video was taken. I mean, what a coincidence. So yeah, basically he got this girl out of persistence who were taking over. You guys, he was her week.
All right, wait, go back a little bit. Just a tiny bit.
If he was getting consistent 9 out of 10 girls, he would have cut the communication off after a week.
And then mostly online dating. The rest, I don't know percentage-wise, because again, I have some cold approach in there. I would say cold approach, I have 20 to 30 days from cold approach.
Oh wait, sorry. I forgot it's not on that. It's on my newest video with Indian P. Sorry, that was another thing I was going to bring up with you though, was the fact that he lied about his body count.
Hang on. Okay, just one thing at a time. All right. So what video am I pulling up?
So just the one with Alex playing with fire as a fraud.
Okay.
And you can see that he's actually using what Alec would deem as 10 out of 10 photos for some of his pictures as well. So it makes it even worse.
Right. No, I was just laughing about how we're all frauds. How do I okay, hang on 1 second. Videos.
It's the newest one.
Oh, bro. How many fraud videos have you done? Okay. Am I still sharing now? Let me share again. Okay. Alex is a fraud. Where am I going to on this at the end?
Maybe just play up to where he's showing Indian P's pictures just so you can see the photos he's using as well.
Less than 0.1%.
Oh wait, go back. It's quite early on. So just where he's showing the pictures.
Also has I think 2 more dates set up for this
week. Okay,
so
yeah.
Again, this
play from there.
File is already paying off. This is what it looks like edited. I would say this is a 25% improvement, like the way he put a filter on my face, and that's where Photoshop is going to commit. What I'm making is everyone can get some level of decent results. Unless you're deformed, something that less than 0.1% of the population have, you can get pretty decent results. And I guarantee you can significantly improve your results if you get these kinds of photos. You just have to put in the work. All right. Maybe like less than 10 out of 10.
So he even equates his business partner to have 10 out of 10 photos. But with that,
he says it there. Okay, so if you want to go back, you can read the comment he was reacting to.
So he
wait.
Let me. Sorry, I was playing it too.
It's all right.
You can significantly improve your results if you get these kinds of photos. You just have to put in the work. All right. Maybe like less than 10 out of 10.
So he.
Okay. So basically, the question was they were asking him to break down his percentages of like his lay count, like
You just have to put in the work. All right. Maybe like.
So he says I don't know the numbers, but he broke down each of them. He says that seeking he has the most. He says then that he has I think 30 to 35 off Hinge, and then Bumble 10 to 15 and less than 10 on Tinder.
Yeah, but it doesn't say how often he's using Tinder. Like the whole time I've known him, and that's why like I'm very careful about speaking on these topics when they're not actually here to defend themselves. The time that I knew him, he wasn't using Tinder as a dating app. So it's going to depend. So that's why it's really hard without him to defend himself, right? So it's really going to depend. If he's sitting here and saying, look, I've been trying on Tinder for the last 5 years and I just can't make it work, that's a different story. But if he's like, yeah, percentage of lays, like I don't really use Tinder, I've probably got like 10 girls off there, that's also a different context, right? So I'm very careful here. I know he gets...
like he obviously, even if he isn't using Tinder currently, the point is that he obviously was, because he admits he was paying for it. I don't know if he's still using it, but he has tried on Tinder and pretty much failed. So less than 10 in his whole life, which he was paying for. And those pictures that Alex was showing at the beginning were from Tinder. So at that point, he was using it. So that's the point.
Okay. Look, it's tough here. The time that I knew him, he was getting laid off dating apps, right? I was there in the apartment, like he was bringing girls over. So if he wants to talk about his defense of like 10 girls off Tinder, he can do that. I'm also, it's a weird spot for me to defend someone's text game that I haven't seen in years, and that is like another company teaching text game. But in good faith, I'll tell you, I've seen him pull girls from Tinder or from dating apps. I haven't seen him specifically using Tinder at the time or being with him. If he's saying that, okay, look, I've really tried Tinder, I can't make it work, blah, blah, then yeah, that'll be concerning, but I don't think that's the case. But as I said, like without him here, I don't really want to be like throwing claims at him without him able to defend himself.
I mean, look, he has said it on camera. He says, look, Tinder's been the least. He says it's been like less than 10 on Tinder, so that's the worst. Which he's not saying like, oh, but I don't use it that often. He's saying, no, that's the worst out of all my.
Well, you're gonna have to bring that up with him, my man.
Well, yeah, but he won't talk about it. When I try to get them to address it, I'm banned from playing with fire because I don't want to.
Okay, well, you're here with me now, right?
But yeah, but I'm asking you because I'm talking about dating coaches, and I'm saying you're on about the credibility here. So,
yeah, I mean, I can talk to the credibility of playing with fire, and I know students that have been with them that have gotten results. I can speak to the credibility of Alex's own results and saying that I'm fucking 100% sure they're all real. Beyond that, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of their text game. And I like these claims, like I don't know what the actual claim is that he's making. I don't know if he's saying I haven't used Tinder that much and I don't get laid off that much, or that, hey, my text game's really shit, I suck at Tinder and I can't make it work, right? They're very different contexts, they're very different claims. So yeah.
The point I'm bringing up though is that he claims his success is mostly from seeking arrangement.
Okay.
So like on that, he's claiming he's got like over 100, right? So like I said, less than 10 on Tinder. Bumble, he said like 10 to 15. But then on seeking, over 100. So why do you think seeking arrangement is letting him get all these girls, but then the other dating apps aren't?
Is there a chance that maybe he's only using seeking arrangements?
No, don't.
He has more success on that?
Excuses. Don't
like, okay, I'm not here to defend him, just to be clear. I'm just trying to be as good faith as possible right now. If I'm a guy and I have huge amounts of success on Bumble and not that much on Tinder, I'm just not going to use Tinder anymore. I'm just going to stick to Bumble. Now, obviously, if he's having more success on seeking arrangements, and then he might just stop using Tinder. But look, I'm not here to defend him, right? If you want to bring someone up with him, bring it up with him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying because you said that playing with fire is a credible dating coach, so that's why I'm just bringing up some holes and flaws in their kind of, credibility as well. So, want to hear your take,
You've got my take. I think what they're teaching is helpful for students. The students have gotten results. I think Alex is very genuine in the way he talks about his results, talks about his students' results. He doesn't often push a product. Like, I don't even know how much the product costs, like, to be honest with you. And like, if you want to bring up like a clip where Indian PE had said he fucked 10 girls off Tinder 2 years ago or something, then you're gonna have to bring that up with him, man. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Okay, but you will admit though, like, if he has been using Tinder for years, that would be very unimpressive, right?
Yeah, if he came out and said, listen, guys, I've been using Tinder for the last 5 years. I've paid for it. I've tried as much as I can, and I just can't get laid off it. Then, yeah, it's going to be very questionable for someone then to teach how to use Tinder, right? Of course. Exactly. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but do you think it's maybe because you're friends with them? Like, so,
to be clear, we're not as buddy as you probably think. Like, yeah, we're friends. Like, I jump on the stream, but I'm not here like we're not like best buddies where I'm gonna have his back on that.
Well,
right?
Look, I'll just say this, right? That we found his seeking arrangement profile anyway, and apparently he claims that he's got a 5 million net worth and that he's going to be willing to financially assist the girls. Okay,
listen, I need to ask you a question, man. Because you're spending so much time on playing with fire, and get it. We needed I'm here talking with you, and it feels like I feel like I'm talking to a girl, and all she can talk about is like her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, but I'm concluding. I'm just getting to the end so we can move past
my ex-boyfriend.
it.
Okay, let's move past it. So
wait. No, but wait. Can I just make that last point? I'm just going to say that we found his seeking page, and the reason
you
he's
need to
succeeding.
listen. Gangstar, do you understand how this is inappropriate to be making claims and accusations about someone that isn't here to actually defend them?
No,
right?
because I've tried to speak with them, but they won't address it.
Yeah, so don't speak to me about it though. You need to speak to them, right? You can't be bringing up like claims and accusations about someone that isn't able to defend themselves. Like, it's just not fair, right? Like if playing with fire, we're having a stream and you're jumping on there and saying, look, Marcus is a fraud. Okay, this is what I found. Blah 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 blah. I'd be chatting to them, being like, what the fuck? Why are you platforming this guy and letting him talk shit about me without me being able to defend myself? Okay, so it's just it's not very respectful on both our ends here.
I would agree with you, but if the fact that video evidence, I think that speaks for itself. Like, so I think it's
and I pulled that up,
case.
and yeah, you pulled up a video of him 2 years ago saying 10 from Tinder with zero context about it.
That was recent. That was this year. The thing 2 years ago was his body count from cold approach. He lied about that, said 40 to 50, and now he's saying 20 to 30. So that's another thing.
All right. Well, you got to stop throwing accusations without them able to defend themselves.
Well, it's not accusations; it's their own words they use, and I'm just documenting it. So I don't see the problem. Right? It's just clear you don't want to talk about it because whatever.
Yeah, I think I made that clear. glad you got the message. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
like, if you want to bring up things about me, right? If you want to call me a fraud and stuff, I'm happy to chat about that.
Well, I don't know much about you, honestly, like, you know, but I just said based on the clips I took of you off that video, I just thought some of the advice you gave Jake was a little bit fraudulent, trying to promise these insane results with the little tweaks you offered.
Whoa. Okay, this is interesting. What? Say that again. I promised him insane results. Is that what you said? Well,
you made some claims like saying, oh, if you did this one thing, it would have went from a 5 interest to a 9 interest. Like, I consider that an extreme claim. So
in terms of him slowing down, you mean?
Yeah, and telling him like to ask, like, say, and you like that, saying, oh, that would be
dude, you know,
things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is an important note on social skills. So if I say to you like that comment of like, say I'm coaching you, right, Gangstar, and I'm like, man, bro, you just need to do this one thing. If you change this, you're gonna have crazy amounts of attraction, man. This is gonna go from a 5 to a 9, bro. You just need to do this one thing. Do you really think that what I'm saying is, okay, it changes one thing and every single girl is gonna think you're a 9 and want to fuck you? Like, is that what you're interpreting from that? Like, do you think that's what Jake heard? Or do you think what Jake heard is, okay, what I really need to fix right now that's going to have the biggest return on investments, is going to have the biggest change in my results, is this one behavior change? Like, which one of those do you think he's interpreting?
Yeah, obviously you're saying it's going to help him in the long run, but I just think, like, saying from a 5 to a 9, but by slowing his speech, I don't think that's like credible advice. Like, you know,
you didn't answer the question. Which one do you think he interpreted?
Yeah, the second. You said that
exactly,
it's going to help you in the long run.
Exactly. I'm not sitting here saying, bro, you just need to fix this one thing and you're going to be a 9, right? Like that's what you're hearing, right? But that's the lack of maybe like social skills, like without being mean. But
I'm taking
that's probably what it is. Like, yeah, but you're being very like autistically literal with this. Like, you need to understand there's certain amount of like undertone in speech that can imply different things. Sarcasm is a good example of that, right? But when I told Jake, bro, you'd go from like a 5 to 9 interest level right now. Number one, there's a lot of truth to that. The girl would be twice as interested if he slowed down. But you're kind of interpreting that as like, okay, this girl is going to think you're a 9 and be absolutely attracted, and all you need to do is this and you'll get every single girl. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's going to make a huge change on his impression and attraction with women.
I'm not saying that you're saying he's going to become a 9 out of 10. I'm saying that her like interest in the conversation would become a 9 from a 5. That's what I'm saying that you said.
Yeah, it would drastically improve. Yes.
Yeah, that's
now
what
you can choose arbitrary numbers, like whatever you want, but yes, it would drastically improve.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I was saying that you said that. So
yeah, I agree with that. Yes, that's what would happen, right? If you go from a guy that's like, and the girl is interested already at an average level, and then you slow that fucking right down and you hold some tension. You now come off as calm, relaxed. Similar to what Lux Pharrell did, but maybe with some more expression, is yes, that level of interest is going to drastically increase. Now, what am I basing this off? Years of fucking experience of me going through these similar sticking points, years of experience of shooters going through these same sticking points, changing that one little behavior switch, and then seeing attention drastically improve. So yeah, that's I'm sticking by that. I thought you were trying to say he will turn into a 9 if he does that. Which
okay, sorry. Look, I understand. Maybe I should have been more specific. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so I'm saying that those, I still consider that an extreme claim though, because I'm saying that, like, I just feel like the girls weren't attracted to him to begin with, which is why, like, he didn't.
What are you basing that off? What are you basing that off?
Well, if you take into account like how Lux Pharrell was getting more like, you know, positive affirmations based on
no. Don't worry about Lux Pharrell. What were you basing that off with Jake?
Well, just the comparison with Lux approaching the same girls. Just saying that there was just more genuine desire with him.
Okay, listen. Why are you saying that Jake didn't have any attraction with the girls? What are you basing that off? Without using comparison, in his interaction, what are you basing it off?
Well, because it just seemed like a friendly conversation. The girls didn't seem that like interested in him. That's why I'm trying to use the comparison.
Because the conversation was friendly?
Well, yeah, like I didn't hear they weren't complimenting him on anything. They weren't like physically touching him, doing anything like that, right?
There were a couple of interactions where the girls were sexually interested.
Well, how come he didn't get any responses then?
He did get responses. And the one girl with the big booty, she was, I'm trying to remember like exact examples, but she was sexually interested.
The older woman, is it, or what?
Look, let me ask you this. Like, I want to ask you a couple of questions, right? Like, what are your results like with the women, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, currently, I haven't had sex in over a year, so I'm not really like chasing girls at the moment.
Why are you not chasing girls?
It's a long story, but I kind of advocate a bit towards MGTOW in the sense of I feel like, you know, the dating market is a bit screwed now because I feel like too many guys are like chasing too many girls, and these girls are getting like guys out of their league, and then that makes them not want to date guys in their own like league. So I'm trying not to add to that, if you get what I mean.
You're saying girls are getting guys out of the league?
Yeah. Like, as girls have way too many options now because guys make it too easy. So I'm trying not to, unless it's a girl I find very attractive. That's the only time I will try and approach her.
Okay. So what are you basing that on, that girls are getting guys outside the league?
Well, because girls have tons of options, you know.
Yeah, they do have tons of options. But
and some of those guys are about like way out of their league as well.
That they're fucking or dating?
Both.
Where have you seen this?
What? You're not seeing loads of average girls with like really good looking guys? Like, really?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
I mean, if we look at the data on this, bro, if you actually look at descriptive data. Now, if you ask women who they would like to be with, if you're just talking about looks, I assume this is what you're basing it on. If you look at looks data, what girls would actually like to date, they will base it higher than themselves every time, right? But you do the same with guys, they do the exact same thing. Guys are hypergamous in theory as well. If you actually look at descriptive data, so if you take, which they've done, by the way, a sample of people and you get everyone to rate each other, and then you look at which people slept with each other and which people are dating, what you'll typically find is there isn't a huge gap in looks comparison of people rating each other, essentially. So what you'll actually find is, yeah, there is a slight increase in looks of women compared to men, especially in the short term. It's only very slight. In the long term, it's actually a lot less. And what you'll find is it's actually a predictor of relationship success. So people that are actually closer in looks tend to have longer relationships. They've even done this in a tribe of like, so what they did is they took out the Western culture aspect. They actually did this in a tribe. And then they've also looked at environmental circumstances. So if you have places where there's actually less men than women, it kind of reverses just a tad. Again, it's very small effect size, but actually reverses a tad. And also things like gender gap, gender norms, and unemployment rates affected a tiny little bit. But generally speaking, people that are dating are actually on similar levels if you look at the data. And just me looking at like down the street, like most people are dating fairly similar looks. Like it's rare for me to think like, fuck, there's a bunch of fatties walking around with like 6-pack chiseled chads, right?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know, because obviously, you know, I do a lot of black pill videos, so like I see a lot of like examples of like girls like getting things that they should never be even trying to get with, like, you know. So my point is, like, even on with online dating, you admit that women are hypergamous. They want to kind of date someone above them. So yeah,
I believe everyone is hypergamous. Everyone by theory wants to date someone above them.
Yeah, but the difference is men can't, like, you know, they have to settle. Women don't have to settle because they have abundance of choice.
No, I disagree here. When it comes to dating, for example, there does need to be some element of, if you want to use that word, settling, and it actually comes on different metrics. For example, so again, if you look at studies, women by effect size will want to date someone that has more resources, like education, salary, than them, 2.5 times more than men, right? And that's actually, again, found descriptively in the data that women typically will go for men that earn more than them, right? So yes, there's going to be certain elements of, let's call it hypergamy. Now, when it comes to looks, what we've seen is they're not hugely hypergamous. That they typically, on general, when you look at the data, only date men that are potentially a little bit more attractive than them based on everyone else's expectations of what that is. And what you'll find is, yeah, there are different metrics of that. Like, as I mentioned before, sometimes people might sacrifice looks for things like kindness. If you look at what people, again, describe, so it's by theory, is they want, and this goes for men and women, they typically want people that are kind as their number one thing, and looks actually comes a little bit below that. And so, yeah, I do agree that women by theory are hypergamous, but by practice, if you look at the data, aren't.
No, I don't know, because obviously, like, you know, you're not involved with the black pill, but they talk about a lot of the stuff, like how, like, this girl is with this guy, so what chance do you have of getting her? Like, that's kind of the usual argument, because they're showing a girl with a really good looking guy and she's like average. So they're saying, why would she want you? She can get this guy.
Do you think that could be a problem, Gangstar, right? Like, if you put yourself in this echo chamber of, okay, all I'm seeing is unattractive women getting very attractive guys, do you think that might create a mindset where it feels very difficult to get a girl because by looks you're not as good looking as that guy?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it could give that, you know, kind of a view, but like, I would say, like, for me, like, I think I would have like a lot of success with like average girls currently if I was pursuing it. But me going for the girls I'm attracted to, I'm obviously finding it a lot harder to attract those girls. So, like, I'm saying,
why do you
yes,
think that is?
Because again, the competition's much higher for those girls and they have higher standards. Obviously, if I go for a girl who I'm better looking than, she's probably going to view me higher than the other guys that are approaching her if they're less desirable than me.
Do you think you can get girls that are the same good looking as you? What do you rate yourself out of 10? I don't know.
I don't really rate myself, but I'll just say I'm above average.
Okay. Do you think you could find someone similar looks to you, slightly above average, or whatever you're basing it
on? I mean, I could, but I think it would be hard. Yeah. I think I could succeed with girls less than me, but getting my looks match would still be quite
let's talk about girls that are your level of attractiveness, right? Do you find them attractive, girls at your level?
Yeah, I think I'd find it hard, yeah.
Okay. Why do you think you will find it hard?
Because those girls have abundance of choice and guys above me, higher than me, so, you know.
Is there something you think you could do that could make you more attractive? Again, we spoke about before, genuine desires being status, money, niche interest, how you can hold a conversation, social skills, and then I added to that understanding and sexual authority, right? you think that these could outcompete with other men that are more attractive than you?
Honestly, no. I think, like, obviously, if I'm approaching a girl and she's dating some like male model and he's like super successful and all that, I don't really see how she's gonna want me compared to him. You know what I mean?
Bro, you're living in a deluded world. If you go up now to a night game, I don't know where you live, but if you had a night game and take all the girls that you find attractive and put them in a line and ask them, who are you seeing right now? You are not going to get a lot of girls saying, I'm dating a supermodel that's very successful. You're deluded if you think that's the case.
No, I didn't. I just used that as an example. I'm saying if that is her situation, why would she be interested in
But
me?
that's you're picking like a 1 in 1,000. You're literally having the worst mindset for this possible. This is like a hugely defeatist, hugely negative mindset. Now, I agree with you, right? If the girl had a choice between you or me, I'd be picking me, right? I'm just going to be straight up. Now, if you had a choice between you and a superstar model that's like super successful and is like amazing in bed and really cool, I'd be picking that fucking guy too. So this is the question you need to ask yourself. If I'm an average, slightly above average looking girl out of the club, why would I put Gangstar? Why would I pick that guy? And if your only answer is looks, then you're going to fail most of the time, right? If that's all you're relying on. Now, if you can confidently answer that question and say, you know what? I'm a good looking dude that also is socially aware. I am empathetic. I'm kind. I put effort into the bedroom. I know what I'm doing, but I'm also getting better at that. I have these passions, and this is my goal in life, and this is where I want to be. That's why she used to sleep with me. And then that breeds some confidence. And then you add the social skills on top of that, some technical game that we spoke about before. Then, yeah, like I don't see why this girl wouldn't want to sleep with you, right? But if you're going in there and saying, she should sleep with me because of my looks, yeah, at this point, it's a bit of a numbers game, right? And she's going to choose the guy that is average looking or like slightly above average looking that has all these other genuine attractive traits, right?
Yeah, it's like competition wise, I can't stack up.
Why not? Why? What are you going through in your life, bro?
I don't really know how to answer. I mean, I don't have a set goal at the moment. I don't have a job currently, so I'm looking for a job, I guess.
Yeah. So no job, no set goal. What's your experience with women? Like, how many girls you slept with?
I used to like live in the nightclub, so from quite a while back, I have quite a decent lay count. It's in the low 3 figures.
Okay, so you have like experience with women. So I assume
Yeah.
you're probably good in bed, right? You've slept with a lot of girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't, I don't bring that up though, unless the girl shows me genuine desire. Because then I'm like, why?
Yeah, I mean that's your problem, right? That's your problem. That's one of the problems here. You're trying to build genuine desire just based off your looks. Those that are spamming in chat, go fuck yourself and stop it. If that's all you're basing it off, bro, then you're gonna fail every fucking time, or at least most of the time, right? If you're going out and saying, okay, this is me, what's up? I hope I find someone that just likes me for my looks. This is the problem. You're lacking the emotional intelligence when it comes to dating and around women, right? I'm just going to be upfront with you here, because you're looking at a woman and you're thinking she just mostly cares about looks and that's it. And I'm waiting for her to show interest in me before I risk showing interest in her. That's the way you're going about this. And I guarantee you're going to fuck up and fail every single time, or mostly every time. When I say every single time, it's hyperbole. Mostly every single time with women because of this.
Well,
right? Because
honestly, sorry,
go on. No, sorry, fine.
Well, no, I was just going to say that, like, I tend to get more positive reactions from, like I say, girls below my level. So I'm saying, like, if I was actively pursuing that, I think I would probably be having quite successful dating life, but just wouldn't be with the girls I'm attracted to.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be happy. It's not a successful dating life. If you're just sleeping with girls that you're not attracted to and you're not into and you're hanging out, that's not successful. Right?
Well,
I don't know where.
Yeah.
That's not
but I'm just saying
on
paper though, because I feel like a lot of guys are settling. That's what I'm saying. I even told Alex this. I said that if I was going for girls around his girlfriend's looks level, I think I would be, doing decent as well. So But like, I'm not going to pretend like if I sleep with a girl like his girl and pretend she's a 7. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, yeah, she's a below
Do you think
average
he's
looking
happy?
girl.
Do you think he's happy with his girl?
He seems to be, but it's like he's deluded because
So
he
is that not
thinks she's a 7.
successful? Is that
Say it
not
again?
successful? Is that not successful?
Yeah. I guess it is, but third party's perspective would.
Let me ask you a question, Gangstar. If you were to see the girls I slept with, right? And it's been a lot. I don't count, but it's like over 500, right? If you were to see those girls and you could see that a lot of them are like super hot, very attractive, and then I settle with a girl less attractive than those girls. Let's say a 7, like whatever. Numbers I don't really care about, but let's say like a more average girl. And the reason I say is like, dude, this girl is fucking incredible. She's the nicest girl you'll ever fucking meet. She's hilarious. She's amazing in bed, right? I've never had such a sexual experience like with this girl. It's fucking insane. I can't even describe it, Gangstar. My family get along with her. She's absolutely great. My friends love her. She's amazing, blah, blah. Would you now look at me and say, come on, bro, she's average?
Only based on the fact you're a dating coach. If it was just a normal guy, I wouldn't. But
yeah, so I think that's also like a mindset problem that you might have here. Is you base everything on looks. Like, what do you value in a girl? What do you like in a girl? Looks. That's it.
Well, yeah, as long like obviously she can't be a total biatch, right? But just be somewhat easy to get along with and just be attractive. Yeah.
Have you had a girlfriend before?
Yeah, but my longest relationship's only a month, so I wouldn't even count.
That's not a girlfriend then. If you
exactly.
a month isn't a girlfriend.
Yeah,
so you've never had a relationship, right? So this is something you gain with experience and you'll understand. But when you're with a girl for like 2 years or longer, you'll realize that looks aren't the most important thing to you in that 2-year relationship. They're not. And I agree with you. If it's a one-night stand, then yeah, bro, like I'm there for it, right? Like you could give me like a girl that is a bitch that's super hot for a one-night stand. I'll enjoy that experience likely. But I've had girls that I consider like my 9, or even like a girl that I consider my 10. And to be honest with you, like after seeing her 3 times, I just stopped seeing her because I just don't enjoy it. Like she's hot, so it's like validating, right? It feels nice to fuck a hot girl. Like it feels visually stimulating sexually to fuck a hot girl. But you get to a point after you start seeing a girl over and over again, you realize there's so many other traits that are so much more important than looks. Now, yeah, I want a hot girl, right? Like all the girls I'm seeing are, hot. But dude, the amount of like importance I put on all these other attributes is there. And I think you'll start to notice that when you get in longer relationships. And it might give you some empathy to understand why girls look for these things too, and why they might not just look for looks.
Well, look, again, maybe you have a point because I can't relate. But can I ask you another question just about with the dating thing I'm on about? So I did bring up to Alex as well. I said I had like 20 dates in the last year, but I didn't sleep with any of the girls. So he said like, oh, so that means you obviously are terrible at like closing, whatever. But then I told him, then I told him like, obviously, yes, some of them rejected me. I said a couple of them, I rejected them, and all the rest were kind of just mutually, the conversation died out. But would you not agree that if you're going for the attractive girls, that it is harder to, as you would say, close them when you're on the date?
No. You said mutually the conversation died out. I'm going to call you bullshit here. I'm going to say that you weren't able to maintain the conversation.
Well,
that's why.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, in the sense that we just stopped talking, like, and it was taking too long to respond, and then it died out, like, yeah. But I got rejected too. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, I mean, these 20 dates, I know what happened, bro. I already know. These 20 dates you went on, and you would have waited for the girl to show some genuine interest, right? That's what you've been waiting on. Now, again, like I hate to bring up like stats all the time, but if you look at speed dates, playing with fire, yeah, if that's a real playing with fire, you can jump on.
Yeah, it is. It's in.
Yeah, they can jump on whenever they want. Let me just pop a link on. So if you've gone on 20 dates, I know what happened. You went in there waiting to see genuine desire. And again, if you look at speed dating stats, the biggest thing that women actually and men find attractive is like reciprocity, if they actually know the other person is into them, they're more likely to rate that person higher. And it's this whole idea we're all worried about rejection, right? So if you put up 2 girls on the screen and you ask me to rate them, and you say, but by the way, before you rate them, girl A fucking hates you and girl B thinks you're super attractive and like the nicest guy ever, I'm going to be inclined to rate girl B a little bit higher, whether I realize that bias or not, like logically, like consciously. That's what's going to happen. And so this is also what's happening in your date is you're sitting there waiting for the girl to show interest. And when she's not, you're like not investing at all. You're not like moving forward. And guess what the girl's doing? She's thinking, I'm going on this date with this like muscly, dominant looking man. I'm going to wait for him to lead this and show some fucking interest. And so you're both sitting there waiting. And then the conversation dies out. And then you try rationalize it. They're like, oh, I guess I'm not good looking enough. I guess she's going to go date some like super good looking Chad.
Well, like, but this is my point of saying that, like, obviously some of them, I said that I closed it off. Like, so those girls, like I said, they were giving me those positive affirmation based on my physical appearance. So yeah, I would say you're right that I was waiting for that kind of like those signals, and some of them, yeah, they didn't give them to me. But in that case, I just feel like that the girl either doesn't find me that attractive. Like, obviously she must not think I'm bad to agree to go on the date, but it must just be down to that competition to say, like, he's all right, but he's not as good as some of the other guys though. So, you know, in that case, I'm like, it's a lose battle for me.
Okay. Like, first of all, like generally, like that sucks. And if I went on 20 dates and I walked away from that thinking like, fuck, I'm just not good enough. Dude, I mean, that sucks, no? Like, how does that make you feel?
No, I was in, like, I don't really care about any of the stuff because I understand the market, like, you know, so I just say like, well, you know, that's just the way it is, that she must have had a better offer. Like, that's the way I view it. Like, I don't like put it onto me to say like, oh, I must have been some terrible loser, because I feel like I performed decent, like, you know, because I was able to keep a long conversation with them. And like I said, some of them were giving me positive signals. But so the ones that didn't, I just feel like, yeah, it just wasn't meant for her.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like it did take a toll because you've pretty much given up, right? Like, you went on 20 dates and now like you're not going on any.
Well, no, because like, think about it, that's like 20 in the last year. Before that, I used to go on, like in 2016, I went on over 200 dates. So 20 is still very low. So it's only that I'll approach girls that give me some choosing signals. And then, like I said, and only girls I find attractive now, because I'm not trying to give into the, well, contribute to hypergamy, if you get what I mean. So
yeah, these are some horrible mindsets, man. I think if you're able to change them, you're actually going to have success with these girls, because you managed to go on 20 dates. These girls are into the way you look, so you can't use like looks gate as like your problem. You're now, it's like your personality that's holding you back. It's the way you're acting on these dates that's holding you back. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know. I just think it comes down to competition, like, because I feel like,
no, but I mean, you beat the competition, bro. You beat the competition. She came on a date with you.
But just because the girl goes on a date, like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, because there's other guys.
No, it means a lot. Excuse me. It means a lot. If a girl goes on a date with you, it doesn't mean nothing. This means a lot. It means she's taken the time out of her day. She's gotten rid of all the other competition, hypothetically. Like, she's chosen you over them, right? She's putting the time and effort to come and see you. It means a lot. It is a huge indicator of interest. This is like the biggest thing possible. Like, she's gone on a fucking date with you. She's likely already thought about the prospect of having sex with you. This is not just, oh, like, she went on a date with me. Like, in your mind, she's decided your looks are good enough at this point. The reason you're not fucking these girls and having success and not having a relationship last more than a month is not your looks, right? And if you keep telling yourself it's your looks, this is just going to keep happening over and over and over again. You have to realize that it's your behaviors and your personality at this point, likely your mindsets, that is actually fucking this up. Because a girl going on a date with you is huge amounts of interest.
Yeah, but like, obviously from the experiences I've had, it's just like, I'm used to girls like going on the date and then, you know, talking about their other dates in the week, like, you know, so I know I'm not the only one. Like, so I'm saying if I was, they'd be more interested in me because I'm like her only offer, but she has tons of offers as well.
Whoa. Let's not, okay. When I say huge amounts of interest, she's not like in love with you. She hasn't like deleted her Tinder when she's gone on the date with you. There's a balance here, obviously, but there's a huge amount of interest. So now, what's happened is she's gone on the date. She said, this guy's good looking enough. He seems to have some characteristics that I like. You're fucking it up with your personality. Because I guarantee if you sit there and you talk like this and you have this walled view and you're thinking like, okay, I hope I'm good enough. And in the back of your head, you're thinking this fucking bitch is hypergamous. Yeah, hypergamous. Thank you. And is thinking, okay, this girl just wants to like fuck some other Chad that walks by. Maybe the waiter comes up, he's better looking than you, and you're thinking, oh well, she probably is gonna like him more, and she had the chance to go with him, she'll go with him. Of course, this girl's gonna have a shitty experience on this date, right? Of course. Like I don't blame her, but you can't sit there and be like, it's my looks.
But then how would you explain, like, if I went out with like average girls, that I would get like positive results?
Because they're average girls. Like, I'm not saying looks don't matter, right? The way I like to think about it is pretend you're building a character in a video game and you're adding to it like strength, stamina, mana, all that shit, right? These different attributes. So if your character is 10 out of 10 looks and then average on every other trait, then a lot of girls are going to look at that character and be like, all right, that's a character I'd want to go on a date with or hang out with. Yeah, especially like comparatively to herself. And if that character is a 1 out of 10 on looks, obviously it's going to be a lot harder. But right now, you're like, I don't know, you describe yourself as a 7 or something on looks. And the girl is thinking, okay, 7 on looks great. And I think he's probably like a 7 on everything else. And I'm a 7, so whatever, let's go on this date. Then she gets on the date and realizes you're a 1 in every other category, right? Your prospects in life, 1. Your job right now, 1. Education, 1. Your mindsets and like how you see the world, 1. Your ability to have like an interesting, fun, like emotional conversation, 1. So this girl is now looking at this and being like, you know what, this 7 of looks, even if it was a 10 of looks all the time, like this isn't just compensating enough, right? So yeah, your lack in personality and good mindsets and aspirations in life, your looks might carry you a little bit with these less attractive girls, sure, right? But we've already established you not after the less attractive girls, right? You want to go for the girls similar SMV to you, and that's going to make you more happy, and that's actually what's going to bring you the the validation and whatever else you want from the looks. So I wouldn't look at it that way. I'd think, okay, my looks are enough for this date. So what else is fucking me up right now? And you need to look at that very objectively, and you're not. You're looking at it through this bias of like, it's my looks, it's my looks, it's my looks. And that's all you're doing.
Well, no, it's also like you said about like the job and all that. I'm factoring that in too, you know? But like I'm saying, the competition, like she's out on other dates and the other guys probably have good jobs and all that. So I'm saying she's obviously going to be looking at me and say, oh, this guy competition wise is not stacking up. So, you know, even if I have good social skills and all that, but I'm not up to her standard with the other guys is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, a job is only a small detail. I agree. Get a job, have some prospects. But the way you talk about it's important. If you just say like, I don't have a job and I kind of suck and da da da, yeah, like the attribute of being like negative and pessimistic is hugely unattractive to women. The attribute of being optimistic and having a purpose is very attractive. So you don't actually technically need the job. You just need to talk about it in a better way. But I agree, like long term, it's silly. Like get a fucking job, get your life sorted, right? Someone said you don't have a phone, like get a phone. So these are things obviously you need to work on that you should be doing over like obsessing about your ex-boyfriend Alex, right? Like that's what I'd be doing. But you need to like acknowledge, and first of all, like that's the first stage is acknowledge that your behaviors is what's holding you back right now and not your looks.
Okay. But look, I'm just saying, like, okay, those are some valid points, right? But like when I said this to Alex, he said there's no difference if I'm on a date with a big obese girl or she's a supermodel. He said it's no difference on your ability to close. It should be the same level of difficulty. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I disagree. Well, I mean, there's a lot of factors. Okay, there's a lot of factors that are going to come into play here, right? So, and they're going to range from effect size, like how important they are. But generally speaking, a girl with less options will be slightly easier to close than a girl with a lot of options. But I can see his point of view here, which is probably not going to be a huge difference. By the time you've gone on a date with her, it's almost no difference, right? By the time you've actually gone on that date. because what I would say is actually like a larger percentage play here is going to be your behaviors and how you actually lead to this close. And the biggest effect size as well is going to be her views on sexuality. Girls that are more open and more sexual, regardless of their looks, are going to be easier to close.
Well, like that's what my point is basically. Like, yeah, that the more attractive girls, like you said, there's much more options, and not just that, but higher quality options. So, like, if I can do well with average girls, that means
you've already got the date. You've already got the date, though.
But I'm saying I don't think that means, like, obviously, yes, it means something, but I don't think it's like, oh, that's your gate, you're in. I don't think, I think it's.
Well, that's how you should see it. If you look at my success rate on dates, it is literally 100% in like the last year, maybe 2 years. Literally 100%. Like every date I go on, I'm closing the goal. And with my students, I expect it to be super high, like well over 60, 70% of like close rate. So you've gone on 20 dates and not closed a single one.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, but that's to do as well with the standards though. Like, obviously you're saying you wouldn't be happy, but I'm saying most guys now are kind of settling,
What do you mean settling? Who are these guys that are settling?
I mean, you obviously are in touch with the dating market, like you know online statistics and all that. Like obviously there's a lot of men that can't get a single match and they're just taking whatever they can get,
Yeah, okay. I don't think there's a lot of men just taking whatever they can get. I think there's a lot of men like you that wouldn't take whatever they can get. Sure, I agree. Men for the short-term dating prospects have low standards in terms of looks, or in terms of anything really. Like, here we go.
This is one collab I never.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
What's up, my man?
Yeah, what's going on, buddy? I only watched a very small part of this, so you guys have to fill me in on what the discussion is at so far. But yeah, did you guys review the Marcus is a fraud video yet?
Yeah, he did that.
We did that at another time. But Alex, you're also a fraud. Okay, it's not just me. All right,
that's true. There's a lot more videos calling me a fraud than you. So yeah.
Listen, I feel like I'm like the new boyfriend, and you're like the ex, and he's more angry at you.
Yeah, but he'll if I show interest, he'll take me. I agree. I'm the one he really wants. Okay, you're just the.
I agree.
Marcus, now that Alex is here, would you be willing to address the things I brought up earlier? Because you said he was here.
So Alex, essentially, Gangstar made some claims, and I just said I didn't want to talk about it without you here being able to
go ahead.
myself.
We can go through them.
So yeah, if he wants to do it, he can.
Yeah, sure. Is it anything new, or is it stuff we've already covered like 5 times?
Okay, so you saying though you're an online dating is your main forte, right?
Yep.
And you claim that, like you said, 99% of guys should be able to get relatively good results with online dating with your help.
I don't know if the number is 99%, but I think a good amount of guys. I think there's only a small percentage of guys who are like completely incapable of getting good results online. Guys who are like 5'2" or have some kind of facial deformity. I feel like that's a very small percentage of guys. I don't know if it's 1% or 3%, but yeah, I think the majority of guys should be able to do pretty decently. I'm not talking about like slamming stunners every day, but pretty decently with the right guidance and photos. Yeah.
Okay. So how come Brown Daddy, how come he claims to have only gotten less than 10 girls from Tinder, even though he pays for it and has actively been using it for years?
Well, paying for Tinder doesn't really give you some kind of massive substantial advantage where like your profile goes top the algorithm. It gives you some it makes it easier for you to use. But Indian PE, my business partner, he may have not gone I don't know about that 10 number where you got it from, but just assuming what you're saying is true. I think from what I understand, most of his results come from, aside from if we're talking about dating apps, most of them come from Bumble and Hinge. I think at this point he's actually banned from Tinder, so he can't really be getting any dates from an app that he's banned on. So I think he primarily uses Bumble and Hinge.
Okay, Bumble, he claims 10 to 15. Is that good results?
I severely doubt that's the case. I think he's gotten way more girls from online dating.
Marcus, can we please pull up the video? I know the exact video where he actually breaks it down in depth if you want to do it.
Yeah, feel free if you want.
What's the video?
So just on my channel, just say it's
here we go.
Caught lying again. Like, yeah, that's it. And Marcus, I'm going to ask your perspective too. Since he's here, you can give your insight as well.
Yeah, bro, I gave you my perspective already. So
someone said in the chat, he said
to,
it's from Tinder and the rest is from other apps. So there's someone in the chat is saying that. So
no, he said it's less than 10, not 10.
Which video?
Indian P caught lying again. It should be close enough to the top.
I appreciate you dedicating half your channel to me.
All good when I'm banned, right?
Yeah, well, you are banned. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I told you multiple times not to self-promote. You just kept doing it.
Oh my God. Like you literally, I saw you play the video like on your channel. I did not self-promote. I was letting the girls know that for clarity and context, if they want to understand, then they can check out my channel. And then
I told you not to plug your channel when you're on my channel, and you ignored me.
That was not plugging. That was me talking to the girls and explaining what was happening because they were all confused.
Okay.
Where am I going, my man?
You can just get to the point where I start talking, or actually just play where Indian P is on. You see him there. Yeah. Okay. Go back to the start of that. So he says it in depth here. So
from the most I get is from Seeking Yes. And then the second one is Hinge. On Hinge, I would say I banged maybe a total of like 30, 35 girls.
Okay, so that's not. Wait, pause it right there. So that literally you just proved my point with your own video. So I said that number is much more than 10. He just says in this video that he banged 30 from Hinge. So yeah, that your point just goes out the window with that.
What? Wait, what? No, I said less than 10 on Tinder, not Hinge.
Yeah, I know. And I said, well, yeah, because he's banned on Tinder. He primarily uses Bumble and Hinge. And you're like, oh, well, it's like 10 total on all the apps.
No, I said 10 to 15 on Bumble.
Gangstar. Just take a breath with me for a second, okay?
No, man, you're deflecting here. Come on.
No. I'm going to give you my perspective, really.
Okay.
I am. But what I've noticed is that you're like very hyper-fixated, and it's going to be very hard, like especially once you have this YouTube channel, to admit like anything outside of like what you're believing like in this second. So let's just take a second, okay? He said most of his lays are from Seeking, right? Yes. App number 1. Yeah. Then the second one is from Hinge or whatever it was, like the second app, which is 35, right? Yeah. So already that's a high lay count or a high amount of results from dating apps. So if that like fourth on the list is 10, then like you can't sit here and say, oh, like he can't get girls off like online dating because the one that he uses the least is only 10. Or the one that he uses second least is only whatever. When the second is 35 and the first that he's using like what I assume is like most, like far beyond most of what he's spending his time on is high, then I think it's disingenuous to sit here and be like, okay, but he said less than 10 on Tinder. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, but this is my point. I get what you're saying, but you're missing the full context of what was like the video is going to say. Because yes, he says 30, 35 off Hinge. That's his next best metric. But then like Alex just said here, oh, he's using Bumble. Bumble, he says 10 to 15. If you play the video on, you'll hear him say that. And that was what Alex said.
Okay, so we have 10 off Tinder, 10 to 15 off whatever it is, 35 off one, and then one that he's using the most on. If you look at my online lays, it's going to be like 95% Tinder and like 5% like Bumble, Hinge, and Field. Now, if I go on stream and say how many have I laid from Field, it's probably like 3 girls off Field. Now, if you took that and was like, okay, Marcus online dating isn't working because you can only lay 3 girls off Field, it's going to look really bad. And then I'm like, oh no, but the second one I use the least is Hinge, and I've slept with like 10 girls off Hinge or whatever. Then you're going to be like, okay, 3 off this, 10 off that, what the fuck? But then when it's like 100 or whatever off Tinder, it's being a bit disingenuous looking at the 2 apps he uses the least, right?
But he never said he uses it. He just said there he's actively using Bumble.
What?
So what exactly is your argument? Do you feel like, I mean, if he fucks, let's just assume that he fucks 35 from Hinge, 10 from whatever, Tinder, 15 from Bumble, that puts him at 60. He's like top 1% of like fucking male population in terms of lay count at that point. As a bald Indian guy, that's pretty fucking good. We're not even counting all his lays that come from cold approach, which I believe is about like, I don't know, like 50 or so at least. That he's fucked from cold approach. So yeah, that's like if he's over 100, that's pretty fucking good. Not counting the source that he primarily uses, which is Seeking. So yeah, I mean, I don't know where you're at, what the argument you're trying to make.
Well, my point is that you said he's using Bumble, but if he's only got 10 to 15 on Bumble and he's actively using it, why is that so low compared to Seeking, where he's getting, like he said, over 100 girls?
I don't keep track. I'm not his like dick consultant. I don't keep track of exactly where all his ways come from. I know that he's banned off Tinder, so that's why I assume that he doesn't really get much on there because he's banned. I believe he's still on Bumble and Hinge. I don't really know what percentage of his lays come from Bumble and Hinge. I have no idea why he does better on Hinge. I don't think it really matters, frankly. I think that's it's a complete non sequitur. Like, who gives a shit? Like, if we're looking at like online, you want to criticize his like ability to get laid online. All right, well, let's take a look. Does it really matter if the lay comes from Hinge or Bumble or Tinder? Let's take a look at like all his lays from online dating. Well, it seems that it's at least 60 for a bald Indian guy. That's not too bad.
Yeah, but these are what he's claiming, but then I've caught him lying about things too. So I'm just bringing it all into context to give an overall evaluation on this.
Well, no, you're not doing that. I mean, you just have you're hyper fixated on making either me or Indian P or my girlfriend look bad, and you're looking for any and all ammunition. I mean, I think we can just, unless you have more to add to this point.
Well, yeah, because obviously Marcus took it down before he was going to say, because you said initially you do not believe that he only has 10 to 15 on Bumble. So I don't believe that, but he was about to just claim that he did. So
Bro, this is like a really cringe, like, I got you. I don't know exactly what, like, how many per app he got. This is not, I'm like, hey, bro, I need you to fill in. I need you to check in with me every night and let me know how many chicks you're banning from Bumble. I just knew that most of his lays come from Bumble and Hinge, right, which is what he's told me. I didn't know exactly how many came from which. If you're saying it's 10 to 15 per Bumble, I'll just take you at your word if you have a video for it, but I don't think it really matters. The point I was making is that I knew that he doesn't just have 10 lays from online dating, because I knew that he has at least like 50 lays from online dating, but I didn't know specifically which lead source they came from. I just knew they didn't come from Tinder because he's banned on there.
Yeah, but the point is, you're an online dating expert, and Bumble is a very popular dating site. So he uses Bumble actively, and if he's only got 10 to 15 in his whole life, that's not good for a dating coach. So
if you say so.
So you think 10 to 15 is good for Bumble?
So I think 10 to 15, I don't care where the lays come from. Like, this is such a cringe thing. Like, bro, you have to get this percentage of lays from Bumble. I think the only thing that matters is how many lays you're getting and the quality of the lays, right? Unless you, of course, you have a girlfriend, that's what you want, which is not the case for him. So when I look at the fact that he's fucked, I don't know, 60 girls from dating apps, another at least 50 from cold approach. I look at that, you know, there's several, like at least a dozen from like social circle type of stuff. I look at that, I'm like, oh, as a bald Indian guy, yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
Okay, well, my point is, he's gotten 10 to 15 on Bumble, but then hundreds on Seeking. And I'm saying, what's the difference into success? And I'm saying, it's because on Seeking, like I said, he's financially assisting on his page, willing to do that, and claiming he has a 5 million net worth. I'm saying that seems to be the difference why he's getting big results.
Well, what about the 35 he got on Hinge? What about the 50 he got?
Again, 30, 35, okay, that's one that you could say is decent, but again, we're taking his word on that because I've caught him lying before. So
you're taking your word at any time anyone says this. Okay, we're taking your word when you say you've been with 300 girls before you went on a whatever incel fest. So you're taking people's word at all times. Okay, so I don't know, like, what kind do you want to like put a tracker on his dick? Like, what kind of evidence do you want? Do you want pornos? We have quite a few of those. He has a few of those. He can send them to you. We did a video where we showed receipts of him with girls. Like, what kind of evidence do you want? Or do you want to like physically be in the room while he fucking trick?
I'm saying that you're meant to be an online dating expert, and your own business partner is only getting 10 to 15 girls on Bumble, what he claims. So I'm saying that's not
Gangstar, Jesus Christ. You're missing the point. Like, this is the same problem with your dating life right now, is that you're just unaware. And so in your dating life, you've been on 20 dates and you're thinking it's looks. It's the same vibe and tonality and feeling the same way, like you're going after Indian PE, which is like, but it's 10 on Tinder, and you're like hyper fixating on something that doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, you need to take this same lesson with your dating life and apply it here. He slept with a bunch of girls off Seeking. He slept with a bunch of girls off Hinge. Who cares if it's 10 off Tinder? Who cares is it 15 off like whatever other app? He's obviously getting girls off online dating as someone that you would describe is not attractive. You just need to take that at face value and be okay, great. Even this is like lying about lay count bullshit. I don't know my fucking lay count. You're going to find streams of me saying it's X and it's this and that. Whatever. He's got a high lay count, okay? That's what matters. I don't think he's sitting here thinking, oh, I'm going to fucking lie on this stream about what lay count it is. We don't know exactly what our numbers are, right? So I think you need to just take a step back, take a breath, and then honestly focus on your own dating life and what the problems are there.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Gangstar, if Indian P goes on date with 20 girls, he's not going to close 0 of them, okay? I guarantee you that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, okay, Alex, like, you just keep dodging. Like, oh my goodness.
What exactly am I dodging?
Even when I came up about him lying about his body count from cold approach, you would not like address it when I came on that stream. One of the last streams I was on with you.
What are you talking about?
Look, okay, I'll get back to that. But look, Marcus, I'm just going to say that you said earlier on that if he really did have less than 10 on Tinder, that you would be kind of, you know, saying that's not good.
What I said, if he came out and said, I've been using Tinder actively for the last 5 years and it's the app I'm using and I can only get 10 lays, then that would be questionable, is what I said. But what you've heard from Alex is, and what I told you is when I knew him and wasn't using Tinder, is that he doesn't use Tinder. He's banned off Tinder and he's not using it. So that's what I said.
But he's not banned off Bumble, which is 10 to 15. So,
oh my God.
I mean, I don't understand what you're not getting here. Like,
Dude, do you really? Why do you care if the app comes from like Bumble or Hinge? What's the difference? Like, is it you're saying 35 is pretty decent? So why are you so hyperfixated the fact that he only has 10 or 15 on Bumble? Who gives a shit as long as he's getting laid? I mean, do you really care? Like, do you think if Marcus is like, yeah, you know, a lot of the girls I bang, they're from night game. I haven't really banged too many girls from day game. Gotcha. Why haven't you banged more girls from day game? Well, you know, I'm actually pretty happy. I'm getting like a lot of chicks from bars. I don't really have much time to do day game. I'm not really focusing on it. Well, why not? I thought you were a dating coach. I thought you were good at cold approach. Why don't you have more lays from like? Do you see how this is like ridiculous?
Okay. I'll just spell this out straight. Look, all I'm saying is Marcus said earlier that if it was less than 10 and he said I've been using Tinder and not getting that much results, he would call that questionable.
It sounds like
then when we clarify that is Bumble that he's actively using and got 10 to 15, he's now saying, oh, but this doesn't matter. So that just totally debunks what you said earlier.
No, we don't know how often he's using his Bumble.
Oh my goodness. Alex just said there
he said he's actively using, he said 3 apps he's actively using, right? As Alex said, he hasn't been on his phone checking his screen time for each fucking app. Now, if you take UMP, Alex, or myself, for example, when we use dating apps, we're typically only sticking to 1 at a time, right? It's just easier to manage for us. So, yeah, if you ask me what apps I actively use, I'll probably name 4. But Hinge I haven't been on for a year. Field I haven't been on probably 18 months. I would probably still say I'm actively using those because they're the apps that I use. Like that's the words I would use to describe that. But we don't know how actively he's using Bumble, right? What we do know is he's getting girls off online dating. Now, the fact that you're sitting here and like hyper fixating on this over and over again is crazy to me. And so I'm actually more interested in your psychology and like how you've got to this point because you've mentioned that, okay, you're a situation now where you don't have a job, you don't have any prospects, and you've been on 20 dates, you're not able to get girls, and you have this negative limiting belief around looks and how you think that the girls just aren't into you. And so I'm thinking if I'm a guy that's living in this world where I've met 20 women, I've gone into this time and effort to meet 20 women, and I feel rejected by each and every one of them, and I think it's because competition of other men. And then I see some guy that's less good looking than me claiming that he's sleeping with a lot of girls, which he is, then yeah, I'm going to be fucking miserable. I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to think it's unfair. I'm going to think he's lying. And it's all I'm going to fucking focus on. And I think that's what's happening with you right now.
Bro, you could have gone to so much, hold on. You could have gone to so much pussy if you didn't waste so much fucking time making fucking videos trying to call people out. Like, you could have gone to so much pussy, man. You wasted so much time.
Yeah, I could have gone on Bumble and got 10 to 15 girls, yeah.
No, you probably could have gotten way more. That's the thing. Like,
Gangstar, when you're fucking a chick, well, if I know it's been a while for you, but like 3-4 years ago when you were allegedly fucking chicks, when you're fucking a girl, are you like, oh, I can't really enjoy this. This is Bumble. You know, I need. Oh, this is not Bumble. This has to be like blah blah blah. Like, who gives a fuck? What if 10 come from Bumble, 30 come from Bumble, 35 come from Hinge? This is like the biggest irrelevant like argument ever. Who gives a fuck? No normal human being fixates on like, oh, but I only got 10 from Bumble and 30 from Hinge. Why does it matter? Who gives a shit? As long as the ladies are coming in, the girls are attractive. That's the only thing that matters.
Well, I don't even know if 30 to 35 is that good for a dating coach.
Oh god! All right, Gangstar, we're going to move on from this topic. So you've shared your piece. You're upset that.
I mean, I don't feel like you've been kind of fair though. I think you've been kind of like brushing over the actual point I'm making, like, you know, because I'm going to get.
I 100% get the point you're making. The point you're making is how can a dating coach call themselves a dating coach and call themselves advice good for other people if they're not getting laid, right? That's your point. And then your point to prove that is he has less than 10 on Tinder and he has X amount, 10 to 15 or whatever it was, or whatever on Bumble. All right, I get your point. The counterpoint to that, he's getting laid a bunch on other apps. So it's irrelevant to me which apps it's on, right? Like we're just going to go back and forth because the problem is the same way that you went on 20 dates and didn't think about changing your approach or changing your mind is what's happening in this conversation right now, right? You're not going to change your mind. You're not going to change your approach. You're continually going to think that everyone in this chat right now are frauds because you have to have that worldview. Because if you don't, guess what? If you don't have that worldview, then all your dates are because you didn't have a good personality and you didn't have the right behaviors. And that's a lot harder to admit than, hey, looks are the only thing that matters, whatever, I just wasn't good looking enough. And to stick to that worldview, you got to call all of this frauds, right? You got to try find some little piece of evidence that is going to help your case. And so, yeah, I think I do know what's going on right now, and I don't think I'm brushing over it.
Well, I don't know, because obviously my whole argument is going to get back to seeking the fact that he's obviously financially assisting and claiming 5 million net worth. I think that's why he's succeeding on that.
How do you know he's financially assisting women?
Because he said it on his profile.
So, because are you familiar with how Salt Daddy game works?
Oh my goodness. No, I'm not familiar with Salt Daddy game. I'm not familiar with all these terms, but I'm just saying when a website full of gold diggers, if they see some guy claiming 5 million net worth and that he's willing to financially assist, I think that's going to get the girl's attention.
Okay, so let me yes, you're right partially. The goal is to get a girl's attention, right? So the way Salt Daddy game works is that there's basically two types of girls that you can hook up with using Salt Daddy game. The first, which is the ideal category, is the type of girl who's just like whatever, like just thinks fucks with you because she likes your personality, or she thinks you're cute, or she just thinks you're an interesting guy and just kind of right place, right time, or she has like a 50 Shades of Grey type of fantasy, or she just wants to date a successful guy, right? That's the first type of girl. Sometimes people go a step further, right? And the second type of girl is the kind of girl that initially is kind of wants, like a guy who's maybe she's going to an open mind, right? So she's not a hardcore like prostitute or like a experienced sugar baby, right? Because those are just going to be like, no, pay me money and walk away. But you conveniently avoid the part of his bio where it says no PPM, I'm not into transactional encounters, right? So basically what he's doing in there is he's giving the girl a little bit of hope that maybe if she like plays him right at some point down the line, there will be something. But he has never once, as far as I know, and I know him pretty well because I used to live with a guy, given the girl any type of money or financial assistance for literally any type of sexual favors or anything like that, right? So yeah, just because he has something in his bio doesn't mean that he's actually doing it. Also, he has no PPM, which means pay per meet, no transactional encounters. He has all that other shit in there, which you're just conveniently ignoring.
Yeah, but if you obviously, look, if you see a guy with 5 million and offering to financially assist, obviously a girl on that website is going to find that appealing. Go, oh, that means financially assist, they're going to take money.
Yeah, Gangstar. I know you haven't used this app. Like you have a tendency to talk about a lot of subjects that you don't have that much experience in, right? So with the app, yeah, there are two ways to use it, right? So one way, which a lot of my girls use it and look for guys, is people that just like looking to pay for a date. So essentially it's like a quasi like escort type service, like relationship experience. Then there's another way to use it, which is going to be, let's find girls new to the app that are just looking for men that aren't your typical like fucking broke ass club guys. Like, this is what we spoke about earlier, guys that have like a passion and like are going somewhere in life. This is what they're looking for. And so they can find it better on this app than they can Tinder. So you have to be a little bit selective with the types of girls that you're actually looking for. So if you're doing it in that way, it's not the perception that you might have, which is like Indian PE sitting there like handing out dollar bills like when these girls are on dates with him. It's more the idea of, yes, I'm a very successful, wealthy guy, right? Sure, you can put like 5 mil, you can put 100 mil, whatever you want in your fucking bio, right? But it's like, yeah, I'm a successful, wealthy guy, right? That's what you're trying to give off. Like, I'm not this immature little kid on Tinder. So then the girls meet up with you, and sure, you might find some girls occasionally that you might not screen for properly and might want fucking like paper date, and you just get rid of those, right? And what you're left with is girls that are actually, like, from what I've heard of a lot of my students, are actually girls that value a lot of these traits in men. And so girls that value all of those traits tend to be a little bit more mature themselves. They tend to not be these party girls, which a lot of students actually prefer. So there's two ways to use the app. And I think you're seeing this in a superficial point of view and just assuming it's one way when he's using it the other, if that makes sense.
Also, just ironic that you've never actually. It seems like you've never used Seeking, right? Is that the case?
Of course, I haven't.
Okay, well, I know $80 is very expensive. You can't afford that, but yeah. So I think that it's just you're talking about something you don't really know much about. You don't understand Salt Daddy game. You don't really even understand how Seeking works. So yeah, like I don't know how you're like so confident in your assessment of a website you know nothing about.
Because I know the dictionary and what words mean. So when he says financially assist and 5 million net worth, that means a girl's going to look at that and find that appealing. She's
what about the part where he says nope? What about the part where he says
it's because of his net worth?
What about the part? It's not mutually exclusive, my man. What about the part where he says no PPM or no transactional encounters?
Yeah, he's saying I won't pay for a meet, but it doesn't mean that, oh, I can assist you financially, but I'm not going to pay just for you to meet me.
So do you think he's assisting him financially? Is that your claim?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, I can't make that claim without more knowledge on it, but I'm just saying that obviously that's what the girls are going in with the intent of getting from him. It's not because of his game.
It's dude, my man, it's not mutually exclusive. It's not like this is all game or this is all status or this is all looks. Like there's multiple factors that are at play. Do you not realize that?
Yeah, but apparently he doesn't even like show his face on it.
Well, that's not true. He does. I actually took a look at his profile.
Okay, well, and I'm saying I can't make that claim. I just heard that his face is not that clear.
It's not true. After that whole thing on Greg's channel, I asked him to send me his profile because I was curious, and yeah, he does show his face.
Well, the guy who's his fan who was reviewing it said it that he can't even make it out to be him, and he had to double check with other like.
So your argument is some random person that you barely know said something in a stream. Well, I'm telling you, as someone who has seen his profile, I'm pretty sure I could find it if you give me a few minutes. That he does show his face.
Well, okay. Even if that wasn't the case, I'm still saying that the reason the girls are interested is because of the net worth and the financial assisting on the website.
How do you know? Are you the girl? Are you talking to the girls? Are you interviewing the girls?
Well, I know that Seeking is a website full of gold diggers, so obviously the money is what their main primary.
Yeah, we just clarified. There's two different types of goals on Seeking. This is the problem. They talk about, actually, I did a bit of reading on incel literature. I'm not calling you an incel here, but essentially the biggest thing that came up is what they found is that a lot of men are unable to understand what actually women like in a dude. And that's incel and non-incel, but incels tend to like over-exaggerate it beyond all belief. And that's literally what you're doing here over and over again. Like we spoke about it with your personal dates, but now in Seeking, you're claiming that every girl is just there to get paid as an escort. It's just not true. There are so many girls on there that aren't looking for that. And as I mentioned, are just looking for a very like experienced, more successful, typically like dominant guy. And the reason I know that is because I have girls that have used it for that reason. My students have met up with girls that have used it for that reason. So yeah, of course, there's a bunch of sugar babies on there just looking for money. They're very easy to spot. It's not usually a mistake you're going to make. So again, like I think I would review my own strategy around dating because it's not working for you at all, right? It's not. And so far, your strategy is instead of to get better at dating, it's to rationalize everything. And so your rationalizations, again, is going to be looks at all that matter. These girls, yeah, look, you even said, like, if you've gone on 20 dates and got rejected 20 times, and I was like, dude, that must suck. Your answer was, no, it doesn't, right? It doesn't suck at all. I understand they're just going for like other competitions. You're heavy rationalizing this to prevent any pain. I wanted to see if that actually hurt for you at all, that you went on 20 dates with women that didn't want to be with you. And you're like, no, it doesn't at all. And so you fixate and rationalize, and you're just stuck on this idea right now. So it's like, that is what I'm actually curious about. That's what I want to talk to you about is like, is this something you actually have thought about or want to change your strategy around?
Well, like I told you, like I can fix that if I just go for the less attractive girls. I'm just saying.
No. The fix was just
that's not a solution. That's not a solution.
Okay,
well, there's an EMP's face.
So there we go, showing his face. Yeah,
okay, well, look, I'll just say, if that is the actual current one, then fine. But I'm just saying, Greg and that Noah guy, who are both fans of Indian P, they both said on the stream that they could not make out his face on it. So I don't know if he changed it
They
recently.
couldn't make out his face.
Yeah, like and they said they can't even see.
On one hand, you have someone who's literally showing you screenshots of the profile. On the other hand, you have something you randomly heard from a person you don't know on a random stream. Which of those do you think has like more merit?
Yeah, but he could have changed it. Is my point.
Of course, it's all a conspiracy, bro.
Well, why would Greg say that when he's a huge fan of yours? Why would he say that?
I have no idea. I don't watch every single Greg stream. I don't know.
But Greg had the profile up, and he was saying, "Oh, you can't even see his face. That's a bit strange."
I have no idea. I don't think your interpretation is correct, but I would need to see the original video.
Exactly, and just like you said, my Bumble was wrong too, saying 10 to 15. Said that was wrong, and you can see at that point.
The whole thing, as far as I understood, Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that you were saying that he only has like 10 from Tinder, and that's like he only has 10 from online dating. Period. Right? That's as far as I understood the point.
I never said that.
Well, what was that, Marcus? Is that how you interpreted what he said, or?
He was saying that he was actively using Tinder and he only had 10. So he didn't specifically say he's only ever got 10 from online dating, but he was making it out that Tinder was the one that he was using very actively, almost like majority of the time, and not getting any leads from it.
So it wasn't
which isn't the case.
Okay, so Greg is in the chat. He's saying Noah said it, not me. I never said that. LMAO. So yeah, you're wrong about that.
Oh my goodness, he confirmed when Noah said you can't even see his face. Greg was like, yeah, that's true. So
Greg is saying that he didn't say that. So I think I'm gonna trust him.
Yeah, well, I'm calling him out right now. I'll call him a fraud too.
I know everyone's
wants to play that game because I'll clip the footage.
Gangstar.
If you just take that energy and dedicate it to your own life, you could actually like.
No, or you'll get proven wrong.
I want to know one thing.
Alex, your mic is fucked, bro.
Oh, it's the AirPods. Let me fix it. Hold on.
Gangstar, what are your goals? This is what I'm curious about. Like in a year's time, is your goal that we all come out and say, you know what, Gangstar was right. Okay, guys, we're frauds.
Yes.
Okay. Or is your goal to like get a job? Is your goal to like get good with women? I know the last 10 minutes I've probably sounded a little bit like harsh and condescending maybe, but it's just because of the wild claims you're making. But honestly now, like what are your goals? Where do you actually want to be in a year?
Max, I only like film 1 or 2 videos a week on YouTube, so it's not really a big part of my life. But yes, I'm actively looking for jobs. And again, if I see an attractive girl and she gives me some sort of signal, then I'll approach her.
Okay. So what are your goals with women in a year then?
Again, like if I see a girl and she gives me signals, I find her attractive, then yeah, I would try to pursue that.
But it's not working right now. This is the problem, right? Like you've had 20 of these goals and it never worked.
What happened with those girls? Like, what did they say? Did they give any form of feedback after the dates?
Gangstar just started going off about how much Indian PE is a fraud, and the girl's like, who's Indian PE? Like, why do we care?
Yeah, okay.
Well, look, I told Marcus earlier, I said a couple of them, I closed it off. Some of them, the conversation died out after, like, and then a few of them rejected me too. So I'm saying like it didn't go to plan. Well,
so that's my question. Like it's not working now, right? So is there anything you're going to change?
I mean, right place, right time, right?
I mean, if the conversation is dying out, then it's a text game question. If they're first responding and then they stop, then it's a matter of texting.
No. So I want to go back to this. So what are you going to change though? You said right place, right time. Like, are you just hoping like fate or like a numbers game or like what are you actually hoping on?
Well, yeah, like even with cold approaching, it is a numbers game, right?
The question is, Gangstar, are you going to change anything that you're doing? Is there any changes you're going to make to achieve a different result?
Honestly, no. I just think that out of those 20, like I said, some of them rejected me, some of the conversation didn't go. With one girl, I might clip with her, and that's going to work.
I mean, Albert Einstein said it best. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
So again, what do you think is going to click? That's my question. Like, what does click mean? Describe that to me.
If she physically likes me.
But you've had 20 girls that physically like you.
But not,
and they didn't
like
click.
I told you, that doesn't mean much. I'm saying, when I mean like me, I mean really like me. It's actually like, oh, there's something about him that
based
I like.
on what? Based on what are they going to like about you?
On my appearance, on the way I talk, something about me that they're just going to say, yeah, I like this guy.
No, be very specific, because we've already established these girls like your appearance. That's why they're on the date. So what else is going to click? You mentioned your tone of voice. Okay. So do you think the difference between these 20 dates and the girl that's going to love you for you is she's going to particularly like your tone of voice? Like, what else is there?
No, I didn't mean like just my tone of voice. I just mean like what I speak about, just whatever, something about me that she just.
What about you though? What are you going to speak about?
Life.
What about life?
The journey, struggles, positives, travel.
Okay, what positives about your life would you speak about?
Well, I mean, we kind of saw this. Gangstar went on a speed date, and he spent half the speed date talking about me and how much I suck. So, I mean, I think that's a recurring theme in his life is how much I suck.
Come on, I
don't think I'm famous enough for why that would be interesting. Like, I don't think these girls wherever you live know who I am. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But honestly, Gangstar, like, what positive things about your life are you going to speak about?
I mean, I don't know. Just talk about my experiences in life. I mean, I'm not on about positives and saying, oh, I have these plans to own a tech company. Not like that. I just mean that we can relate to some thing we face
like
together,
what?
Something like that.
Like what? Be specific.
I don't know. I've worked in the adult film industry. Maybe something like that we could connect with, something like that.
You worked in the porn industry?
I have in the past, yeah.
All right, my man. So this is something, right? Okay, we're getting somewhere.
Well, I don't bring that up though. Like,
okay, well, this is the problem. So you just said this is what I'd speak about, but I'm not going to bring it up. So how's that going to come up in conversation? Well, you're not getting a second date right now. So what are you going to bring up on the first date?
Well, like I did say,
can you see maybe why the conversation has died out, right? Do you see maybe why these girls have rejected you on these 20 dates?
I mean, like I did tell you like that I didn't get rejected on all of them. Like as in we continued conversation after with a decent amount of them, but it just died out. Yeah, I got rejected by some too.
Do you see why? Listen, do you see why, Gangstar?
Well, because the interest wasn't there. It was obviously not that bad because most girls ignore after the date if they didn't like you.
What's happening, my man? And look, I'm trying to be as genuine as I can with you right now, okay? Because my interest in the black... No. My interest in the black pill is like how you guys get to this point. Because at first I was like, what the fuck, these idiots, like blah, blah. Like, but this obviously like comes from somewhere. Like you don't just wake up one day and think like, okay, these women are just fucking wanting like attractive dudes and I'm not attractive. Like that just doesn't happen. Like this is something that's formed and like that's what I'm super interested in. Right? I'm interested in the psychology behind it. And so like right now you're saying you got rejected a bunch and your plan moving forward is not going to work for you. You're going to end up just as miserable as you are now. And so my question is like, what do we change on these first dates to actually help you out? And right now, you kind of established you don't know. Like, you don't know what to talk about. Like, you think the adult porn industry probably isn't a good first date topic. You don't really want to talk about anything positive in your life. You don't want to talk about your aspirations. And so you're left in a situation where your next date you go on, you're just kind of waiting and sitting around. And these girls now are sitting there thinking, this conversation's dying out. This guy's not interesting. So do you not think that is something you could maybe like work on and improve?
Well, yeah, I mean, I said I'm actively pursuing getting a job, things like that. So obviously, if I do, that will be brought up. If I get.
But do the girls even know that you're not working? Like, have you told them?
Well, back then I was working. So.
Okay. Well.
But it was a low-end job, though.
Okay. Well, they won't know if you don't tell them. So.
yeah, true.
Also, a low-end job is not going to be interesting to the vast majority of girls. When was the last time you were on a date?
Like last year, maybe March last year, something like that.
Okay.
Do you think you'd be happier if you're going on more dates?
Well, from the experience, like there's some positive
successful dates.
Sometimes I think about the headaches as well. So kind of.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me restate it. Do you think you'd be happier if you're going on successful dates?
If there were. Yeah, if they're with attractive girls I like, then obviously, yeah.
Cool. Do you think you'd be happier if you saw a girl for more than a month?
If I like her, then yeah.
Okay. do you think you'd be happier if you spent more time focusing on your work, improving your life, than even doing like one YouTube video a month about like negative mindsets around like dating?
Well, I can do both, right?
Okay.
Well, it doesn't seem like it's working.
Yeah, like my worry with you is that it's you've got like this what I would describe as a negative mindset. I guess you would describe as like the truth, right? But you have this mindset that I feel is like holding you back in so many areas of your life, right? Because it's probably not just holding you back in dating right now. Like you mentioned your job. Like what I'm worried about with your job is you're like, whatever, like they just have to like me for me in my job. And like I feel like with this mindset, it's stopping you from actually being optimistic, pushing yourself forward, having like this growth mindset of like, I can develop, I can learn, I can have these amazing things that I want, as opposed to thinking like, I'm not tall enough to be like a CEO. Like I'm not like good looking enough for this. And the halo effect's not going to work here. I'm just worried that it's holding you back in so many areas of your life right now.
Well, I mean, look, Max, all I'm saying is that like, I'm not like trying as much as I used to, you know, like when I say like 20 dates, like that's just when I'm randomly outside, and if a girl showed me signals, I'll try it. But I'm not going to nightclubs anymore. I'm not really putting much effort, you know. So that's why I'm saying if I did kind of drop my standards and I was going to nightclubs often, then I probably would be getting, you know, sex. But again, down to the MGTOW philosophy, I don't really want to contribute to hypergamy and all that. So I'm only going after those I like. And again, I'm not really going to the places to meet them. It's just really random on the street if I bump into them and things work out.
It's not just dating the area that you're struggling in, right? If you're like a high-powered CEO or you had like a beautiful family and you just like divorced or something like that, is there any area of your life where you would say you're successful in?
Not currently, no.
Okay. Well, so it's every single area of your life that you're struggling in.
Yeah, but I'm trying though.
Well, trying is good, right? So that's good. That's good that you're trying, but there's clearly a reason why things are not working.
I mean, yeah, maybe things haven't worked out for me.
Well, what Marcus is saying is that a lot of that has to do with your mindset and your attitude. And I agree with that assessment 100%.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think that if most guys strive for like high quality girls and all that, they would get rejected too.
You're so focused on the girls. We're not even talking about the girls anymore. We're like just anything. We're talking about any area of your life. According to your own admission, you're not successful in any area of your life. Are you saying you shouldn't try for like a good job because you could be disappointed? You don't want to continue to like the workforce hypergamy. Like this literally applies to everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a job now to get, you know, finances in order. So that's my main primary objective at the moment. So, you know, like I have an interview next week, so that might be solved, but you know.
But even though you talk about trying to find a job, right? You could have a lot more optimism here, and there's probably some strategies you can implement to better improve your prospects right now. Because you're like, yeah, look, I got this interview set up. Like, yeah, like you know, maybe I'll get it sorted. Da da da. Like, what are you actually doing to finding a job? Like, what are you actually doing skill set wise? Like, what type of job are you actually trying to find?
Well, the interview's for the gym, so.
Like a trainer? Is that what you mean?
As a gym instructor, yeah.
Okay, so what are you actually doing to have a good resume for that?
I'm qualified, so.
Translation, he's not doing anything. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen.
I'm applying with my qualification, saying I can work as a gym instructor. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, what I'd be doing, right now, is I'd be going to every fucking gym and going to chat to them and be like face to face, like handing your resume to them. But I'd be going in there constantly and being like,
Marcus, I already gave him a very similar piece of advice a month ago.
Yeah, Alex did. He gave me great advice. He told me to hang outside every gym in my area and go out and offer everyone come out of gym personal training programs. That was his advice.
Yeah, you're laughing at it, but that's like what you should actually be doing.
Yeah, because I get stopped by the police nearly a lot of times when I go outside. So if I was doing that, I would totally.
What? How many times have you been stopped by the police?
I haven't been stopped by the police in like half a decade. Why are you getting stopped by the police?
What? Yeah, I'm curious.
Because I have not the best complexion, if you get what I mean.
What? Do you think Indian?
Okay, dude, how many times have you been stopped by the police?
Sorry?
How many times have you been stopped by the police in the last month?
Maybe twice.
And what do they say to you?
I don't like your
where are you going? What's in your pockets? Things like that.
Where do you live in a really dodgy area or something?
I would know, but obviously I'm close to dodgy areas, so I have to travel. So
Gangstar, do you think
find this so hard to believe?
Do you think you're better looking than Indian P, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how often he gets stopped by the police?
Well, an Indian man is not
Never.
like complexion-wise what I'm on about, though.
Is this your photo actually in your? Actually, I've seen your videos. What do you mean complexion?
Do you walk around like without your shirt on the street? Like, why are you getting stopped so much? This is probably the most confusing part of this whole thing. Is why is a dude getting stopped by the police?
They think I'm a drug dealer, obviously.
Well, look at Alex. He's got tats. I mean, Alex, how often do you get stopped by the police?
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
They just think I look like a typical drug dealer, like when I go outside. So they stop me. Not every time, but I get stopped quite often.
So maybe, okay, I've got a suggestion. So maybe dress in something else that doesn't make you look like a drug dealer. Then go to these gyms and try and make that happen. I mean, it sounds like you're doing the bare minimum to actually get a job, if I'm honest with you, right?
Well, I'm applying, so.
But the bare minimum, you're applying, right?
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, this is where you could start, right? Like, change the bare minimum in your job, actually put some fucking effort in, get a job. Then, like, how many friends do you have? And I don't mean this condescendingly at all, but like, how many friends do you have in your like social circle?
Real friends though, not like online friends.
Yeah, obviously. I wouldn't count that. Honestly, a lot of my friends, a lot of them have moved away, or like they've got like kids now, so I don't really see them that often anymore.
Okay. So you don't really have that many friends, right? So that can be also something that like makes you feel a little bit shitty about your life. So if you start with like getting a job and putting in effort into it, then have like a bigger social circle, have friends. Like you can go to meetup groups and shit like that. Like forget game for a second, right? You could do that. Now you have a job, now you have a social circle, you have friends. You're going to start feeling a little bit more optimistic about life. You're going to feel a little bit better, especially if you get female friends. You can actually speak to them and see like the types of guys they're going for. And you're going to notice they don't just care about looks constantly and just trying to like one up the next guy and just going for chads. Like when you have female friends around you, you'll start to notice this. Then, only then I'd actually start thinking about like dating. Then you can get on the apps, fix photos, profile, what you have to do is start meeting women. Then when you're on these dates, you're naturally going to have more to talk about because you're going to have friends. So you've got to talk about your instances with them. Hopefully you have some hobbies at this point. You got to talk about work. Right now, it's like, I feel bad for you because you're going in with, as I mentioned, 0 attributes except for being semi-good looking, and then blaming it on the one attribute that you actually have success in. The one attribute that you actually have sorted, it looks like, is looks, right? And you're blaming that for everything when it's actually the thing that it looks like you've maxed out. And you have all these other attributes that, holy fuck, like you could be such a more interesting and attractive guy with all these other things going on in your life. But me, Alex, and Alex could say this for the next 3 hours on the stream. You have to sit down and reflect, because I don't think you're going to listen to us now, but you actually have to sit down and reflect and just think, okay, like, what am I getting more out of? Am I getting more out of the identity of being a black pill guy and posting some content and coming on streams and chatting? Or in a year's time, am I going to get more value out of life by having real friends in my community, by having a job that I actually like, and then going on dates with girls that I see for more than just some object that is looking for like the best looking object in the room?
And
like
being
that's
able
something
to
you really
walk
got
down
to
the
see
street without being stopped by the police. That's also another thing we can strive for.
Okay, look, first off, Mark, I never said I was like miserable and depressed, so that's one thing. Next, I'm just saying that like it's like you're giving me kind of easy answers here, just like Alex was that other time. And all I'm saying, when I mentioned about me not having like, a tech company like Jake and all that. So if I came to you, my point is I wouldn't be able to use any of that unless I was lying. So I'm saying you're telling like game, and that's what he learned from that. Oh, I got to use my positives to my, benefit. But I wouldn't have any of that. So I'd have to rely, like you said, on my genuine, just my looks or something like that. I can't.
No. Can you repeat the advice I gave you? I just want to see if like I communicated it correctly. What advice did I give you?
Yeah, you told me I need to work on these things so I can talk about that stuff in interactions. What I'm saying is,
be specific. Be specific. What advice did I tell you?
well, you told me to put more work into getting a job and
Yes.
try to go to more like social events with like meetup
Yes.
groups to get more friends. And
Yes.
then you said I'll have more things to talk about with the girls in a positive way
Yeah.
and get more
Exactly.
success.
Yeah.
But
I didn't
but
tell you
like,
to get a tech company.
no. But if I came to you thinking that my game is the problem, like your advice, like what you gave
Okay,
to Jake,
right now,
work for me.
no, you're not Jake. Gangstar, you're not Jake. If you came to me, that's the advice I would give you. If you came to me and said, hey, Mark, I want to get really good with women, and then we had a chat about this on our coaching, my advice to you would be, okay, we need to fix your mindsets. We need to get you a job. We need to get you friends. We need to get you out socializing. That would be my advice to you before I even think about putting you in a club in front of women, because all that's going to do is just perpetuate the negative mindset you have. You're going to go out to a club, get rejected, turn to me and be like, see, it's because of my looks. See, I'm not good enough. See, she's going for the chat. That's what's going to happen. So my advice to you right now in terms of game would be to build those skills first. Then we can talk about like what open to use and whatever. But you need to get your fucking life sorted, my man. Like it's you said you're not depressed, you're not whatever. That's fine. But you are missing out on so much potential happiness and like fulfillment in your life that you're just not getting right now.
Okay, but if you told me that, I would say, but I'm coming to you for game. You're not a life. I'm not coming to you as a life coach. Like, you know.
Well,
so
then go fuck yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Like, go fuck off. Then I'm telling you what's going to help you get better with women. If you don't want to listen to my advice, I don't care. You use a dildo up your ass or something. But if you come to me for game advice, I told you earlier, game is being better with women. That is the advice I'd give you.
Okay, so if I came to you and I said, well, in my current situation, let's say if I don't have a job in a month and all that, would you say not to bother trying and you can't teach me game still until I get a job?
No. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say don't bother trying. I'd say try in these other areas of your life. To give you an actual example, we had a student, William, who was on our last boot camp. We can probably pull him up on stream once sometime. He was very similar, right? He didn't have a job. He was struggling at uni and failing subjects, and he was just out gaming constantly. Now, by the way, he was getting results. He was actually fucking, but he was at. My advice to him through that whole boot camp was at the end of this boot camp, you're going to finish your uni degree. You're going to do your part-time job again, which was like tutoring. You're going to go out less, right? You're going to go out less. You're going to get that shit sorted first. You're going to actually develop friends because he had a lot of girls that he was fucking, but no guy friends. That's what you're going to do. And yes, I'm going to teach you some technical stuff with game. We're going to improve that. But that actually had a way bigger return on investment in his ability to get more attractive girls, to have more girls, and to keep them around than it would have me being like, okay, let's go to the club again tonight, right? So yeah, to me, game is like the holistic concept. It's called we call Ultimate Man Project. It wasn't like ultimate like technical game project. Okay, so yeah, that would be my advice to you.
What Marcus is saying is that you have to fix the weakest link. And once you fix the weakest link, you fix the second weakest link. And he believes that your weakest link isn't actually your lack of technical game. It's your just overall life situation. And I don't know. I would probably largely agree with that assessment, although I would say they're both probably fairly problematic. But the mindset, obviously, I think possibly the mindset is probably the worst aspect of it. Because I've met guys who had really I don't know, weird life circumstances where they're living with their parents. They're not really doing much for work. They're working dead end jobs, but they're actually able to hook up with girls because they have just a really good mindset. And they're super positive. But I've never met anyone who has a really, really bad mindset who's able to be successful with girls. So that would be kind of my take. But yeah, I do largely agree with his assessment.
So Alex, if I came to you with the same question, you would tell me that you would ask me to fix the things before giving me proper game advice, or not? You could just try to work with the game or not?
I would probably do a little bit of both. I would probably have you definitely work on the lifestyle stuff. But in addition to that, I would also fix your Tinder photos. I mean, your Tinder photos are atrocious. I don't know if you showed them to Marcus yet, but they're some of the worst I've ever seen. I would get you good photos. That would, at the very least, allow you to start getting matches on Tinder. You could start hooking up with a few girls here or there while you work on your life. So at least hold you over. So yeah, I'll probably do a little bit of both.
Oh, you have to bring up Tinder, because I obviously want to bring it back to Bumble. I would say Tinder, but
don't back to Bumble. Don't do it against
because Indian P, he said he has 10 out of 10 photos.
Catching Indian P is going to improve your life.
But he has 10 out of 10 photos to 10 to 15 on Bumble.
Stop. How do you think this obsession with other men is going to help your life?
No, I just feel like you don't want to really get into it,
Oh, Gangstar, listen, my man. That would be my advice, right? Just take a break for yourself, reflect a little bit. Because like, excuse me, you need to understand like your just assessment is wrong, right? Like you have to be open to that. Like what you're using right now for your strategy with the women isn't working. Like you can sit here and say all you want, like I'm gonna wait for a girl to show interest. I'm not gonna attribute to women wanting like better looking dudes and all this shit, like as if that's gonna fucking make a difference. You can do all that as much as you want, but it's not actually gonna help. You're not actually gonna be happier in a year's time, and you have no clear strategy. So it's hard to hear this advice. Like if I'm in your shoes, it's hard to hear this advice and say, yep, that's great, I'm going to try to do it. Like it's not going to happen on the stream whatsoever. I get that, right? But what I'd suggest is like, just go away, reflect for a little bit and think, where do I want my life to be in a year? Focus on all those things. And yeah, as Alex said, like once you have a better mindset, like get better Tinder photos. Like that might actually help improve your mindset. If you get good photos and realize, okay, girls are swiping and then I'm chatting and they do like my personality. The simple fact of the mindset shift of understanding that girls can like you for your behaviors and then applying that is going to be absolutely massive for you. It's going to take you from a 5 to a 9. Okay, I'm trolling there a little bit for you, but I'm trolling there for you. But if you can change that, it's going to change your actual behaviors. Because if I'm on a date with a girl and I'm thinking looks at all that matters, then I'm not putting in any effort. I'm just waiting around. And that's just a perpetual cycle of like just fucking steamrolling the interaction to shit. Whereas if I think, okay, there's things I can say and do here that's actually going to create, again, back to the general desires that you mentioned earlier, then it's going to be an exciting conversation the girl wants to be a part of. You're going to have success. It's all going to like create a feedback loop that's going to actually bring you some true confidence.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, I got a dip. Is there anything real quick you want me to
jump on? Yeah, I just wanted to, I'll probably go too soon, but I'm just saying that like, will you break down because obviously I'm saying like with Black Bill, so I believe looks are most important. So Alex thinks that Alex playing with fire, he says looks are 50%, but he counts overall SMV, that being money and status involved in that too. So where would you and UMP, Alex, how would you place?
So we actually have data on this, my man. So we have data on effect size. I've spent the last 2 weeks fucking just jerking off to fucking study after study. What we find is that typically with most studies, they put physical appearance as a top thing that affects how people find each other attractive and who they actually date. But what you find is there's actually usually another like 10 to 20 characteristics, and some of those are actually very similar and sometimes actually overtake looks. So if you were to actually look at those effect size from the studies, looks is probably like 10, 20% compared to everything else. Now, if you're asking me what I think is most important, I think there's a somewhat of a threshold where girls need to think you're not repulsive and ugly. But once you kind of pass that, then typically speaking, then everything else is going to come into play, and that's how the girl's going to judge. On that note, before I finish, I think there's probably examples even where you can have a girl that thinks you're not attractive and then over time actually change her perception and use the halo effect. Use the idea of, wow, this guy's so funny. He has all these girls after him, like blah, blah, all this shit. He actually starts to look more attractive. That's why some girls and guys think I'm 6'3" when I'm not. So I think it's an arbitrary number. I think that looks is you can only go so far with it. So once you reach that limit, focus on everything else you can fucking change. So the answer doesn't matter anyway, but that's my thoughts on it.
I definitely agree with the thing about being a threshold thing. What?
Okay, can you just say a percentage on looks out of 100%? You said 10 to 20% on looks. Is that what you're saying or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an arbitrary number. If you look at the studies, right? If you look at all the effect sizes, if you break that down, then generally it's going to be about 10 to 20%. Yeah.
And UMP Alex agrees with that, yeah?
I don't know what you need to ask UMP Alex.
Well,
I'm asking.
Yes, probably something like that. The thing is, you could be the best looking guy, you could still fuck it up. Like you could be so good looking that you get the attraction, but the hardest part about game is not getting the attraction. The hardest part is going to be handling logistics, handling groups, objections, concerns, that type of shit. Attraction is easy. So, therefore I'm going to say looks at the end of the day, if you're looking at results, like actually fucking the girl, it's not going to be that big at the end of the day.
Yeah, also, I think all three of us, Marcus and the other Alex, know one dude who doesn't have the looks, or at least did. I don't know if it's changed, who's pretty fucking good with girls, and that's my old business partner, David. I mean, that dude is like, when I was friends with him, he was like 300 pounds, And I saw that dude like with my own eyes crush it like night after night, from cold approach, from dating apps, from everything really. So just like if you actually just stayed with that kid for like a week, you would kind of see, because even for me, it was like I knew looks aren't end all be all, but I was like, all right, I mean, like how well can like a guy who's like 250 pounds do? Well, apparently pretty fucking well.
Okay, Alex, right? So you claim looks are, they're saying 10 to 20%. You're saying 50%, but that's with money and status. So if it was just the physical appearance with the face, the height, and the body, what percent would you put on it?
I don't know, maybe like 30% or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify because look, obviously, any kind of black pill guy who listens to this is going to think that you're all deluded. You know.
Well, I think also like putting a percentage on is like kind of asking what is more important, the what's it called, the engine or the tires for the car to function, right? It's like, well, what percentage is the engine essential for driving the car? It's like you can't really answer that question. Well, you do need to meet the girl's, generally speaking, you need to meet her looks threshold, right? So you can't really put a percentage on it, but you also need to have like, you know, decent social skills and game. So it's like what percentage? Well, it's not really like you can't even really put a number on it if we're being honest.
But don't you think girls' look standards are kind of high though? You don't think they are? No.
Some girls, yeah.
Yeah, but like even with online, like you all use stuff to edit your photos to make you more attractive.
Well, yeah, because
we all agree looks matter.
Like,
especially someone like Tinder is going to matter more as well because environment also matters. So in an environment like Tinder, looks I'd say is more than 30%. Based on like the types of matches you're getting, because that's also like if I was to say, okay, we're doing a speed dating event where we're putting fucking everyone's blind, and then I'm asking you, okay, how much does looks matter in this speed dating event where everyone's blind? If you're doing a speed dating event where everyone's just basing it off a photo and you're swiping left or right, obviously looks is going to matter a lot more.
Yeah, environment definitely matters. Like the environment where looks matter the most is dating apps. Second would be cold approach, and third would be social circle. Like there are levels to which like how much looks matter and how much of like a leeway you get, you know, based on the situation. All right, guys, I got a dip. Fun chat though. Thanks for having me on.
Alex, can I just quickly say one thing before you go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you said that, you know, people say, oh, the only reason you get girls online is because you use FaceApp on your pictures, but then you said you don't use only in the last year, right?
Yeah. I saw the argument.
I know. I saw you reacted to it, but like obviously their point is that you are editing your photos. So I feel like you were kind of being disingenuous, using that as a scapegoat to say, oh well, I never said FaceApp. I was editing my pictures, just not using the actual.
So yeah, I've been using filters for a long time, but there's a big difference between using filters and using a FaceApp. If you look at my the before and after photos from like 2 or 3 years ago, they're pretty fucking similar. There's a filter on there, and that's basically the extent of it. Versus if you look at my photos now, there's definitely like a sizable difference with FaceApp. So yeah, I mean, like you can look at my there's actually a track record of all of this. If you go and you look at my videos from 2 years ago where I show my Tinder profile, you can see that it's like pretty, you know, it's pretty very similar to what I look like now. It's really just like there's might be a filter, but that's about the extent of it. Versus now I started utilizing FaceApp.
You lose like 8% body fat, like in your pictures, like, you know.
My man, I am 8% body fat. I'm actually in really good shape.
No, you're not, man.
I take testosterone, I take DECA, and I work out all the time. And I'm on a very strict diet and intermittent fast. Yeah, I'm in pretty fucking good shape.
Yeah, I didn't say you're not in bad shape, but I don't think you're 8%. But then, look, I'm just saying based on the pictures.
You're right, bro. I'm actually 8.5%. I'm only 8.5.
No, I think you're about 12%, but it's all right. But no, I'm just saying the difference in the pictures with the editing, you lose like 8% body fat because you get like super shredded compared to the actual picture, is what I'm saying. So that's a decent enough difference.
Yeah. Do you know what you do? So when you're taking a shirtless photo, so what you do is you want to get a nice pump on. So you do some push-ups, you do some pull-ups, and then you look like you're a little bit more muscular than you are in real life, and you utilize good lighting and angle. And that's how you look pretty muscular. That's just basic photography 101.
Yeah, but I saw the before and after pictures, and I'm saying like it's a huge difference, like in the percentage of body fat. Like you look.
Okay, dude. If you say so, I really could care less. Like what you think about like my body fat photos from 3 years ago. I don't think this is going to help your life in any meaningful way at all. Just analyzing my body.
You're trying to say that you don't use like it's not a big difference, but it is a decent difference. You can't deny that. Like, so.
Okay, dude. If you say so, I mean, I don't think no one has ever made that claim up until a year ago when I started using FaceApp, and I'm not like ashamed to use FaceApp. I think it's a tool that everyone should utilize. If you want to like morally grandstand, talk about how evil it is to like use filters and Photoshop, and that's on you. You know,
even Greg says you're 12 to 14%. Like, so.
Okay, I don't. Why does it matter what percentage body fat I am? Like, this is such a dumb
claims.
thing.
Like, you make some extreme claims sometimes. Like, I just want to call you out, right?
Okay, first of all, we have no idea because I've never done the machine. I'm assuming I'm 8%. Maybe I'm 10%. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. I spend 0% of my energy thinking about what percentage body fat I am.
I don't think the girls care either, to be honest.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. I've never had a girl be like, yeah, you know, you really look like 8% in that photo, but looking at you, you look like you're like closer to 10 or 12. So I think I'm not gonna fuck you, and let's call it a day because yeah, you're like 4% off on your body fat percentage. So either you have to get a test right now in front of me, or I'm not gonna fuck you. So yeah,
like, you're just taking my point out of context. Like, I'm not saying that it matters. I'm just saying that the point is that your pictures are being edited quite severely. That's all I was saying. It's not about the girl's interest in the body fat.
Yeah, if you go back and you watch, I mean, okay, everyone's free to make up their own opinion. If you want to go back and watch my videos from 2-3 years ago or show my profile, I think you'll see that they're not edited. They're barely edited at all. There's literally just a filter being used. If you think a filter makes that much fucking difference, then I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, okay, that's all I have to say.
All right. Always a pleasure, Gangstar. Thanks for having me on, Marcus. Appreciate you all.
Cheers for jumping on, bro.
I've been exposed tonight. Not 8%, 12%.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know. I just think you've been a bit kind of fraudulent here, like, you know, and not being genuine with me. Because, like, you are friends with him.
I'm being fraudulent.
It's very clear. It's very clear that you're friends, like, you know, so.
How am I being fraudulent?
Because, like, whenever I like bring up points about Alex or NDP, like, you won't really listen to it. You're like trying to deflect and say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You should be focusing on yourself." But even if I have a valid point,
no. Okay, that's not fair. I answered your questions when they were here, right? I gave my opinions. I'm not going to disagree that. Look, I couldn't care less, if I'm honest with you, what like your conversations are back and forth. The reason I am interested in these conversations, if I'm honest with you, is not to debate like the black pill or some shit. The reason I'm interested in having these conversations is I'm curious as someone that teaches dating, which by the way, I've done for like 5 years now or longer. And I actually started, I did it for like a year or two for free, just because I found it fun and interesting, like helping guys out. And the reason I got into coaching was not for the money, not for anything else. Like I had someone in Sydney like beg me to come help out and join. And I was doing it for like cheaper than what I was getting paid for as a nurse. So I just generally find this super interesting. And when I have people, the more I looked into like the black pill community, is I thought, okay, there's a group of men that we don't have access to. There's a group of men that we're coaching. Like typically the guys we're coaching are very much like, okay, self-help, we want to improve, blah, blah. But then I was curious about the large proportion of men that just aren't getting laid. And then the small proportion of men that aren't getting laid, and then moving to this movement where in my mind, they're kind of rationalizing of like, this is all that matters, which is looks. And then I thought, why? Why are these guys doing it? And I think it like, yeah, it gives you a sense of community. You're able to rationalize it off. It's a way to cope, essentially. I think it's a negative coping habit, but it's a way to cope. And so that's what interests me. Like that's what I like having these conversations for. I like to see where you come from. I like to know how you got there. And that's what I find interesting. Like when you come on and you're like, hey, Marcus, you're a fraud and stuff. Yeah, like whatever, we can talk about that. But then when it moves to like, okay, this other company is a fraud, blah, blah, then yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted a chance to defend themselves. I'm going to give my opinion on it, which I did. But yeah, in all honesty, like it just doesn't interest me that much. I'm more interested in about like what your views are and how you got to this point, and if you think there's anything you can change to do it, and what you can do to change. And you know, I genuinely like I find you interesting. I generally hope that in a year's time you are like happy in your dating life, like whatever that looks like for you. And if I'm able to help push you towards that a little bit, then sure, like I'm happy to do that too. But that's what I'm here for as a conversation.
Oh, well, look, again, I'm not trying to come at you like I do with Alex, because I don't know as much about you. I just said about you being a fraud was just based on those clips, and we have discussed some of that.
Oh, dude, I'm not worried about that. It's fine.
Yeah. No, well, I'm just saying that, like, you know, when you were playing the video for me, right? Like, you literally stopped when he said hinged 30 to 35, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, stop. See, 30 35, that's good. It's like,
Okay,
so you didn't want to see the rest.
No. Stop. That is not what happened. Okay, I pulled it up. It was hinged 30 to 35, and I stopped it, and Alex spoke. I didn't say, oh, see, 30 to 35. See, okay, stop. It's not what happened. Okay, it's not what happened. We were playing it. I paused after we got the point of what he said, which was hinge 35, and then Alex spoke, and then you asked me a question, and I spoke. So that maybe, like, I truly believe that's probably what you think that happened, right? But again, it's like this warped mindset. Like, go back and look at this video. That's not what happened.
Yeah, you cut the video off. You didn't play the rest.
I did stop the video. I'm not going to play the whole fucking video. That wasn't the point. I didn't say let's play your whole video.
My point wasn't about Hinge. It was about Bumble. You didn't get to that.
What's the difference?
Because
okay,
Bumble,
so
he's only got 10 to 15, and Alex said he's actively using Bumble.
Okay, so we agreed. Alex actually said, okay, 10 to 15 on Bumble. There's no point to play the whole video.
I wanted to prove it, though, because you can say I made that up. I want to show it
no,
on
we
camera.
didn't say, no one said you made it up.
Well, Alex did. Alex said, I don't believe that. That's why we brought up the video.
Yeah, and then we saw the video, and it was
Hinge 35. He stopped at 30 to 35 on Hinge. He stopped.
Yes, and then he spoke, and then he goes, look, if it's 10 to 15, that's fine, or whatever it was, 10 to 15.
Yeah, but he said, like, oh, we're taking your word. I wanted to prove it.
Oh my god, bro. Okay, so you wanted me to play the part that said 10 to 15.
Well, yeah, because that was my argument. That was my argument. Okay. So I wanted to be credible.
Well, I'm sorry. I stopped it at 35 on Hinge.
Yeah, but the point is that you focused on that, and you said that's good. 30 to 35
we did
is good.
It, bro. We focused on Bumble the whole fucking time. It's what you spoke about. Why does this obsess you so much?
Because the point is that you're trying to sugarcoat it. You're like, oh, 30, 35 on Hinge, that's not bad. So why does it matter if it's 10 to 15 on Bumble?
Listen, I'm not trying to sugar. I just don't care, right?
Yeah, you don't care, but your body getting exposed. I know.
Listen, to me, they've got text game that gets them laid, right? Now, you can argue that it's 10 on Tinder, 10 to 15 on Bumble, and majority on Seeking for Indian PE. Okay, great. Right, but he's getting laid on Tinder. He gives advice to his students to get laid on whatever on Tinder. I'm using as like dating apps. He's giving advice to students that are getting laid on Tinder on dating apps. So this just isn't an interesting conversation for me, and I don't care. And it feels like you're hyper fixated on it for some reason. And the reason I didn't have you on my stream is so you could like talk about some other coaches stats for like an hour of the call.
And I let that go because you said, oh, it's not fair when he's not there to defend. But then that's why I said, well, Alex is here now, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, and we spoke about it for half an hour, bro.
Yeah, but because you left my actual point, though. You were like, oh, well, 30, 35 is good, and he's getting on 16, so that's good as well.
Listen, I'm sorry I didn't play the 10 to 15 part. I didn't realize that was super important for you. Okay.
Well, it's important when
we can all agree. We can all agree that it was 10 to 15 on Bumble. Okay.
And you're going to say that's good?
Is that okay?
Is that good?
No, what I'm saying is good is his other results on other apps is what I was saying was good.
But why if he admits I'm actively using Bumble, I got 10 to 15. What?
He didn't say I'm actively losing Bumble.
Alex
that is my point.
I know he uses Bumble. He just said it.
Yeah, and Alex also clarified that he doesn't know. These are the apps that he uses.
Okay, but you're giving the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know how much he's using on each of them.
Well, okay, but you're giving the benefit of the doubt.
Of course I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to sit here and make wild claims and not give the benefit of the doubt. Of course I am. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to you too. When you said
on camera,
when you said I've been stopped by the police twice in the last month and I've slept with 300 girls, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I said, okay, I don't know if I believe that, but I gave you the benefit of the doubt, right? I wasn't sitting here and being like, well, no, show me receipts for 300 girls. Show me. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And you're someone that I don't know, right? So obviously, if you're making claims about someone, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but you're trying to say oh, he must not be using Bumble that much. That's your argument.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if I can get Indian P on camera to admit that he is using Bumble, would you change your stance?
Yeah. Yes, if you get Indian PE on camera to say, listen, I've been using Bumble or any app. I've been using X app a lot,
and
right? And I just can't find any success with it, then I will grant you that. Okay?
Okay, fine. Well, because that's, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. So I'm saying he admits seeking I'm very successful. And I'm saying that's because of, again, the 5 million net worth and the financially assisting with the gold digger girls. But I'm saying with these other apps, it's not working as well because he's not doing that. So that's my argument, saying that how can he coach people for games when he's only getting girls because
is this your last point on this? I'm not going to keep talking about this, bro.
Yeah,
we went for half an hour and Alex was here. We went for before Alex was here.
That's it.
You're so happy to fix it. This isn't even my company, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I've brought you on here to discuss Black Pill and your ideologies around it, and it feels like your obsession is to try to talk about Indian PE.
Because I think he's a fraud. And I'm saying as a dating coach, you should be kind of...
Listen, we're not going to talk about that though. Okay? Like, we're not here to talk about that.
If you
want to call me a fraud, then go for it. Like, we can talk about that. If you want to say like I'm charging people and they get 0 results and blah, 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 we can talk about that. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about Indian PE for another half hour. Like, it honestly is starting to feel a little bit weird. Like, I'll be straight up with you. It feels odd. Like the amount of
it's weird because obviously I didn't get to actually say my points. That's why I'm bringing it up. Obviously,
no. Listen, we let you, bro. You have to be fair here. Not only did I let you say your points, but then I brought Alex on so you could discuss it with him for half an hour. So come on. I've been very fair with your time here to discuss that point.
Okay, look, all I'm going to say is I got you on camera admitting. If he can confirm that, you're gonna call him out and say, "Yuck, man, what's up with that? That's not good." You're gonna say that?
Say it again.
If I got your word, you're saying that, yeah, I'm assuming he's not doing 10 to 15 on Bumble is because he's not on it that much. So if I can get him to admit to that, then you're going to call him out?
Yeah, if you get him to come out and say, I use Bumble a bunch and I struggle with it and I can't get many lays off it, then sure, I'll agree with that statement.
Okay, because that's what I'm almost certain is happening. So yeah, okay. And that's why I'm saying, because you said that you would, like, that's why I brought up about, like, you know, fraudulent dating coaches, and you agreed, oh, there's tons. And then you said, well, playing with fire, though, they're credible. So this is my point. I'm saying, if I can, like, would you find that good? And you said no. So if I can get him to confirm that, then you say, yeah, you'll call him out.
Okay.
All good.
Okay. So let's say hypothetically, there's another coaching company called, hey, UMP Alex, what's a good name for a coaching company, you reckon?
Ultimate Man Project.
Nah, I can't use ours, bro. We gotta Gangstar. Do you have like a name? What would be a good coaching company name, you reckon?
Wolf Seekers.
Wolf Seekers? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right, I like it. All right. So let's say there's a company, Wolf Seekers, and these fucking idiots in chat, and they I'm just banning a bunch of people. Say they were fraudulent. Right. Let's say they were saying, hey, you're going to find you're going to be able to sleep with 20 girls in one day. You're going to have foursomes. You're going to have the best relationships your entire life. And then all they did was tell you to go out there and be yourself. They're like, yeah, just be yourself. Just go for it. That's all their coaching advice was. They were frauds. Right. In your life situation right now, do you think it would be beneficial to make 10 videos about them? Even if we just saying for argument's sake, they are frauds. Do you think it'd be better for your life situation right now to come in and make 10 videos about them, or to actually get your own shit sorted?
That's what I'm just saying. I'm doing both, though, you know.
But you're not. We established this. You're actually not.
I'm only doing two videos a week, so it's not that much time.
So what are you doing with the rest of your time?
Living life, looking for work, things like that.
But what you're not living life though, from the sounds of things. What are you actually doing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I work out.
Learning what?
Say again?
What are you learning?
Well, I said I work out.
You work out 10 hours a day or what?
Well, I try to do a couple hours a day.
Yeah, with the other hours?
Looking for work.
For 10 hours?
Well, no, what I'm saying, looking for work, working out, cooking, cleaning, looking for other opportunities online, things like that.
all day.
Yeah, I mean, you know every Play with Fire stream, you know every Greg stream. You're posting videos. Like you're saying, it's just two videos a week or something, or however many it was. Seems like you're spending a large amount of time like obsessed with this, and it seems like that's kind of what you're building your identity around right now. So again, like we're gonna end this stream soon because we've been going forever, but I just want you to reflect on that and just think like, how do you actually want to spend your time? And where do you want to be in a year?
Well, I think you're being disingenuous, like, because I said like 2 videos a week, and they're like 3 to 5 minute videos. That's not that much time, like. So
no, I'm not being disingenuous. I'm saying you're spending a lot of time like watching other videos around this topic. Like if you're just making 2 videos a week, like the actual time spent on that isn't long. But when I create a video, for example, it takes me hours, bro. Like even one video, like even preparing for this talk, I can't tell you how many hours I've spent reading fucking studies. Like, dude, if I see another study that mentions looks, I'm going to throw up, right? Like, it's so for me, yeah, 2 videos a week, sure, it's like 5 minutes, but it seems like you're investing a lot of time into this topic.
Well, you know, because obviously I get heads up because I'm banned from playing with fire, so I don't really watch his streams, but people in my comments let me know if he done something, or I see like another channel where they also try to expose him, so I get like little clips. So it's not like I'm watching the entire streams, you know. So
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, no, I just don't think it's a fair. Like I know you're, you know, guessing, but I don't think it's fair to say, oh, I'm spending too much time watching live streams and all that, because it's not really the case.
Well, no, I mean, I just asked you what you did with your time, and like you didn't give me really anything productive other than gym.
Like it's a massive waste
Like
of time.
if you ask me what I'm doing with my time, I can very clearly tell you, okay, yes, I go gym every single day. Then I work on the mastermind like for an hour a day. I work on my next YouTube video. I do these lives. Twice a week, I usually try go out with friends. Once a week, I meet up with some mates and we do like a work hangout where we like build each other's businesses and help out with that. I do Shibari once a week, which is like a group activity that I go to. And then I try to get some free diving in every now and again. Like I can very clearly like state to you things in my life that I think are productive and bring me like joy and happiness. So someone wrote in chat like, who cares how he spends his time? The reason I care is because I don't think it's very productive to your happiness. Now, as I said, you can tell me to fuck off. I don't mind. Like you can tell me like to go fuck yourself in your account. I'm just giving you like an alternative perspective that might be able to help you in the future. That's all I'm offering as we like conclude the call, I guess.
No, I'm saying, look, I'm not trying to dismiss your advice. Like I'm saying, some of the stuff you said is, you know, would be beneficial to me, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I'm trying. And again, like I said, I have an interview next week, so I'm saying maybe things will start changing at that, you know.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Good luck. Good luck with the interview.
All good. So
is there any final thoughts? Anything else you wanted to bring up before we?
Well, look, there was one thing I was going to bring up, but I don't know if you want to get into it or not. It's just about.
Let me know, and if it's too long, we can save it for another time. But what is it?
Well, it's just the speed date with Malik and Ashley. You know.
Oh, okay, I think we covered that last time.
Well, you covered it. You know, I didn't really.
Okay. Well, let's make this quick. Do you quickly make a statement and I'll counter, and then we can.
Well, I kind of just thought you were. If any proper black fellow was here, they would say you were coping, like, you know, trying to say, oh well, it was only because of this. That's why, you know, they reacted like that. You know.
Okay.
I mean, can you give me like a logical reason as to why, or did you think that it went well, or what?
Okay, so I'll go in a little bit of detail here, and I'll give you my thoughts on the situation. Okay, so let me just ban this person. I've gone on a speed date with Malik before. Now she's the type of person that builds her identity out of being seen as like the bitchy one, right? Now, we all claim that she's the archetype of bratty, which is typically what bratty means is you're trying to like push a guy and test him to see what type of dominance he has, or really to encourage the dominance. So I actually would describe her as a brat, and I think there's some of that there. But what I see as a stronger influence is not only through her own channel, but through playing with fire. She's been identified as these very, very bitchy, hard to get along with girl, right? I actually don't think Malik would be typically like that in the real world on a date. Like, I think she's going to test a little bit, be a little bit bratty, but probably not as heavy as she's doing on stream, because that is how she's kind of being identified by. So you have some commitment consistency bias going on with that. So on our first date, if you actually look back at it, I don't remember it entirely, but I think she may have given a little bit of shit, but not really. Like, we actually got along pretty well. There was, I think she gave a little bit of shit at first when there was 3 of us about like, well, you know, we have to buy you a present when you got to buy me. But then she actually started investing, saying that she'd give me a green screen. We had a one-on-one speed date chat that we're talking about, I think maybe like what holiday or something, some shit like that, right? So she wasn't actually that bitchy or bratty at that point. So then on the second time that we're on stream, I was just giving advice to everyone. And then Alex said, okay, can you show us what you do and demonstrate what you do when a girl is being somewhat non-compliant or somewhat bitchy or like bratty, I think maybe in the word that he used. So then I was like, okay, I can't just go back to having like the conversation that we were having before about, okay, so hey Malik, how you been? Yeah, good. What's been happening? I've just been streaming a bunch. Okay, cool. Like, she's not going to give me any level of brattiness out of nowhere for that. So what I did was I created a negative scenario. I said, yo, by the way, I don't remember exactly, but I think I said something like, yo, you got triggered about being inexperienced or something about being inexperienced, which she is, by the way, which I'm pretty sure she probably doesn't have that high of a lay count. She probably doesn't have that much sexual experience. And so that's what I brought up. She got very defensive about it, which I was expecting. And then I tried to show how to turn this around. Now, was it turned around perfectly in that 5 minutes? Of course not. Were there things I could have done better? Of course. But to sit there and just assume that this was just a very negative way, or this is how I would talk to any girl ever, is incorrect in that assumption. And so that's what I explained on stream. It's what I explained to you. If this was a real life scenario and I wasn't just trying to show how to deal with someone that's going to be a little bit bratty or someone that you make non-compliant, then I probably would have just spoke to whoever else was on the fucking stream. But that wasn't the point of the demonstration.
Okay, like, can you hear it?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I thought it cut out. So I'm saying, like, yeah, you can like say that it was like a kind of a like test demo kind of thing, but
yeah,
you was also supposed to entertain Ashley, like, you know, you failed at that.
One second, bro. No, I didn't give a fuck about Ashley. Ashley was going to be super nice and chill, and she wouldn't have been bratty whatsoever.
Well, would you say you failed the objective of that speed date then?
I depends what the objective was. So my objective was to get her to a point where she was a little bit combative and then try to turn that around. So yeah, in my eyes, it was successful. Could I have done it better? For sure. But you notice in my first date, when I had her on there and there was 3 people, you disappeared, but I'll say it for everyone else. When I had her on the first date, there was 3 people there. You notice my first line of questioning wasn't to get her super fucking defensive. It actually went very well when I spoke to everyone else and incorporated her in the 3-way chat. All right, guys. Fucking hell, that was a long stream.
That was very interesting.
Alex.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
I'm interested to have more black pillars on that are willing to chat like Gangstar, because I think he actually I think he can improve. I really do. The only issue is he's got a YouTube around it. So the more I think about this, like, the less linked they are to like the identity, the easier it is to actually like grow and develop. So the minute you have like a YouTube channel and you're producing content and that's like his only real passion and thing he's got going on, I think it's hard to turn away from that, because I think it does give him a sense of purpose, actually, just having that YouTube channel.
Yes. Even though it's a shitty sense of purpose, but it is still a sense of purpose.
But dude, it's look at everyone that's like now fucking trans, right? Like non-binary. I'm sure a lot of these kids aren't actually non-binary, but it just gives them a community and it gives them a way to like see the world and be seen. So,
it's like when the kids join gangs, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly
it's the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuck, dude, that's such a shit show. Like, fucking.
But he seems like a smart dude, man. He seems like a smart dude.
Yeah, man, dude, I can't wait to see when he joins the mastermind and he actually starts pulling.
He won't join the mastermind. He won't. It's
Dude,
look, if he gets his
hey, I'm calling it right now. All of these black pillars in the chat, they're gonna be the biggest fanboys in a couple of months. I'm calling it right now.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
absolutely.
No, I think it's gonna be it's tough because oh man, like I was just trying to think the other day, like I was trying to put myself in the mind of a black pillar. Because at first I was just like, fuck these guys, like who cares, like these fucking idiots, incel. But then I thought, okay, like I bring myself back to after my relationship when I got broken up with, and then I started going out and trying to make goals and getting rejected. Like I remember having that feeling of where I fucking hated women, and I just thought like they just think they're better than me. I didn't base it off looks back then. I just based it off like person. I just thought they just think they're better than I am. And it's a really, I could see how I could have turned into like a black pill. Like if someone came up to me and was like, hey, the reason she doesn't like you is because you're not good looking enough. And like she just wants good looking guys. I could see me saying, okay, fuck yeah, maybe you're right. And like adopting that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Good thing that didn't happen. Very good thing.
Fucking good thing it didn't happen, for sure. Yeah. That's for sure. Holy shit. Could you imagine?
Yeah, man. That was actually, I was just trying to imagine it right now. No, I can't imagine. It would be so weird. It would be.
But you know what holds me?
Yeah.
When I took steroids and got really muscly, I started getting a lot of attention from girls. And then I couldn't fucking close any of them. so then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna stop doing the steroids. It'll help that much.
But see, that's the thing. Like we know many guys who are like incredibly like good looking. Like they're like a lot of people consider them like 8 and 9 above, like ridiculously good looking, but they're not fucking, getting blown out over and over and over and over. And like they're too timid. They typically lose attraction from being too timid. Like the guys who are really good looking, they start off with the attraction, but then through the behavior, they're too timid, and the girl gets turned off.
This is a question I want to ask you. If you looked at students on our boot camp and then looked at their results, if we were to do a study, what do you think would be the biggest variables in terms of that? So does that question make sense? So obviously a black pill is going to say, if you rank everyone in your boot camp on looks, then their results will also be ranked on looks. That's typically what a black pill would say. But that's obviously not what happens, right? Like the results aren't based on. So what do you think in terms of like coaching a student? If you could have the perfect student, what would those attributes be, do you reckon?
So if I could have the perfect student. Well, I mean, I know where I want to get him to. I would say the perfect student is the guy who is fearless. Like that would actually be like the ideal, because it's super easy to push him. He's not going to be timid, because that is the quickest way to lose attraction with girls, is being timid. And the easiest way to build attraction is to not be timid. And that it's just becoming more clear to me every single day that is like the number one thing, like by far. But see, the thing is, guys should also improve their looks. I tell guys to improve their looks all the time. Like I tell students, like, hey, bro, you gotta fix your fucking haircut. Hey, you gotta fix your outfit. Like this is not gonna work out. But that's never the limiting factor. The limiting factor is always in behavior. Every single fucking time, it's always behavior. So if you were to make a study, I would say that at the end of it, what actually makes the biggest difference is the improvement in behavior and improvement in subcoms. Like it's super clear, because you can literally see it from like an hour to hour basis, like how different reactions they're getting when you make these small, sometimes fucking big adjustments, in their subcoms, in their behavior. You're cueing them to behave a certain way, and boom, you get a completely different outcome. So I would definitely say like that's going to be the biggest part. You see?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was trying to think of this before stream. I think it's like a mix between, so getting looks out of the way, like someone that's like half decent looking, right? But then I think it's maybe like ability to learn So people that can like implement things and review and analyze, I think is important. Then open-minded, I would say, like being willing to try new things. Because we have students that it takes like 3 days to like get in their head that they need to like try something new. And other students says, maybe you should try this. Boom, they try it and like see if it works or not.
Yeah.
I think they tend to be the most successful.
Yeah. You know what? I think we're lucky in a way. I think a lot of people who come to the boot camps, they tend to already come with an open mind. Sometimes you will get a guy who's not. But
yeah, I guess it's like comparative, right?
Yeah, very rare. But yeah, fuck, dude, that's really interesting question. Yeah.
All right. Well, if there's any other black pill guys that want to come on, discuss your mindsets, ideologies, debate, I am interested. I'm curious about the topic.
Yeah. And by the way, like, we're not neglecting or like dismissing the fact that looks matter. They're important. Like, we're actually fucking big advocates of that. But these guys are claiming it's 90%. That's just not accurate.
What I don't understand is, okay, let's assume it is 90%. Let's say we live in a world where looks is like 90%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, number one, it'd be so easy to see that as results from everyone. And so clearly it's not true. But let's assume 90% is looks. That means 10% is what? Like your behaviors, correct? It's like if you get your looks to the maximum level, like you can't do anything else about it. Especially like a lot of black pills even claim that like your body physique doesn't matter that much. They literally just say like the facial structure and biology and you can't change anything, right? So let's assume that. If you have 10% that you can change, wouldn't you just be focused on that?
Oh, I would be obsessed with that.
Yeah, if it was just 10%, I'd be like, yo, this is my edge. It's like athletes, where they will do little things to change like 1%. They want to make like a 1% difference. If I had 10%, that's all I'd be fucking like focused on. But let alone like where it's obviously a lot bigger difference to that. Looks. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we're three. Sorry, Alex. Looks for L just asked if you come on. We're 3 hours 15 minutes into this stream, my man. Let's do it another time. I need our breakfast.
I'm here. I haven't slept. You need to go back to the night game, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The girl pulled me to her place. She was a predator, man. Dude, she was full predator. Like, I choked her, and then she just booked the taxi without saying anything.
Polish?
Guess we're going.
Polish girl?
Yeah.
Nice, man. How was it?
Connection. Well, how do you want me to rate it on connection?
Yeah, connection. How big was your connection?
Connection close, 10 out of 10.
Oh,
I'll marry.
That's a lot of connection, dude.
I'll marry.
It's true love.
Yeah. True love. Yeah.
All right, we need a fucking moderating this chat next time we do like a black pill shit. I think I've banned like 15 people. Yeah, by the way, anyone that's wondering, someone asked like, is this a free speech chat? No, it's not. Okay. This is anything but a free speech chat. If you're just talking shit, I'm gonna block you. If you're not being productive, I'm gonna block you. Yeah, I guess that was my 2 rules so far. No, I mean, our whole company is designed about improving people and becoming better as men. So if you're gonna act like a little bitch in chat, you're just gonna get blocked. So no, it's not a you can fucking free speech chat. Stefan asked if we can jump on as well. Everyone that's asking to come on, I've put my Facebook up in chat. I'll do it again. You can message me there. Like next time we do like a black pill stream or something, you boys can come on, but I need to fucking eat. So,
yeah, bro, anyway. I got my fucking food here. I gotta eat too.
Oh man. We have a stream tonight in 3
maybe
7 hours.
Yeah, we'll do it a little bit later.
Yeah, we have another stream in 7 hours. Alex, get some sleep. We'll see you then.
Yeah,
we're gonna do some breakdowns.
Yeah.
Boys, love you all. Even you black pill motherfuckers spamming my chat.
We'll catch you guys next time. Like, everything is with love. Always.
That's it. Yeah. Take care. See ya.
Peace out, peace, bro.